All right. Hello, Yang. Yeah, let me get rid of the thing that says starting soon because now I'm here. We don't need that. We don't need that layer, and we don't need that layer. Boom. Save. Yeah. Now it's just New Year's stream. How's it going, Yang? You know what? Actually, I'm not really doing anything else. I suppose I could keep the background music up. They'll be quiet about it because I'm not entirely sure if it's royalty free. I'm just making a bet that a small indie dev will be okay with me doing it. Anyways, how's it going? Hey, Monty. Thanks for the follow. You're from Tokei's stream, aren't you? Or is that a different Monty I'm thinking of? Yeah, cool. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. How are things going? You're also a Matasugoi. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. I guess I'm in Tokei's streams more than Sugoi's because I don't catch hers as much as I can catch Tokei's. Um, but yeah, that's really cool. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. Pretty much just chilling. Yeah, I think we're all just chilling. I don't think I need to necessarily be on this screen the whole time. Well, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Part of me is wondering if, like, do I just want to just. I could just leave this. I kind of slapped together this New Year's stream image, like, today. And I'm like, I could just be like a face in space with New Year's stream above it, or I could like maybe just kind of switch to like be a capture of like the main monitor, which shows my screensaver. I don't know, which like cycles through a bunch of different images and shit. Like, I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out which one I feel is better for kind of existing here. I feel like it's weird to have one image for whole screen. So maybe I'll do that. Let's see. If I go over here, it's like this, change this to this, save that, boom. We should all be seeing this lightning dragon, yeah? Let's see. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I feel like this will be a little bit better just so it doesn't look as static. But anyways, how's your New Year's Eve or New Year's Day going? Wherever you may exist in the universe. I kind of don't have much of a plan for this stream, to be honest. It was just like I should probably do something like this just to kind of talk and think out loud for a few hours. But like, I have no idea what to do, so I'm just kind of here. So I don't know how things going with you guys. You're sleepy, Yang. How long you been up? See, I think you're 2 hours ahead of me, right? Because you're in Florida. I think Florida's 2 hours ahead of me. Took a couple naps. Naps can help, but sometimes I feel like naps can kind of just have this stupid effect of like making things worse, if that makes sense. 11:15 where you are? Yeah, I mean, yeah, that'd be about 2 hours ahead of where I am. So yeah, checks out. Wondering how much time I want to give to like other people who do just show up, or if I should. It's been like 13-ish minutes since I started. Maybe I should just start ranting about something. What should I rant about? Well, maybe I could talk about how I was sick this week, because that's fucking sucked. I'm still a little bit sick, so I'm a little worried about how my voice will do throughout the stream. But my voice has gotten considerably better over the week. So I don't know if any of you, if either of you guys, well, Monty probably wasn't since he just followed me, or she. I actually don't know. They. Let's go with they. They is the safe one. They followed me, um, just now. But like, I think Yang, you were there in Together Tuesday, at least in Rez's chat, right? So I'm not sure how much you would have heard of me like how I sounded when I was talking. I don't know how much it came through that like I was starting to feel sick. But like honestly, as soon as like towards the end of Monday's stream, I actually started feeling a bit of a tickling in the back of my throat. But I thought maybe I was just dehydrated from like talking all stream or something like that, or something else. So I didn't think much of it. Then I felt it again in Together Tuesday with Res Dog, and I was like, this might be something, but I kind of still didn't want to acknowledge it because he him is fine. Okay, cool. All right. I just like I try to I have this really bad habit of just like defaulting to like he him pronouns, which like is statistically like going to be a good guess, but because most people who come to you know this platform are gonna be um, self-identified males, but like I don't want to assume that. This is like one of those like social things I want to be better at. I want to be better at like acknowledging and respecting people's like gender identity and or whatever identity they want to have. Because that's just like being like a halfway decent person. um, you're a guy on the internet until proven otherwise, kind of. Um, yeah, like so I have this longtime viewer called Caffeinated Elk, and for whatever, like I just like kept on like doing that thing where I'm just like I refer to them as like with male pronouns and stuff until like and it didn't like quite occur to me that I was doing that again instinctively until she mentioned that like she was a woman. And it wasn't even like she was correcting me, she was just mentioning it in the context of like I think we were talking about like some like political shit, and I something about identity politics came up and how something about her being a white woman. I don't even remember the exact context, but I was like, yeah, yeah, and I like kind of like was still in the middle of like my rant, and then I kind of paused and I'm like, I just realized you said you're a woman, and I've been calling you with male pronouns this whole time. I feel bad about that. And like she was like super cool about it. She didn't care. Um, like she was not bothered in the slightest, which was great because she's also been like my most supportive viewer throughout the entire year. Um, but like it was one of those like I don't think she felt bad about awkward about it, but I felt awkward about it because I want to be better about that. So, anyways, God, what the fuck am I actually? Okay, so that was a tangent from something else. I try to be better about that type of stuff because I want to respect people. I was talking about something before that. um, oh, I was talking about how I was sick this week. Okay. So yeah, like towards the end of Monday's stream, I could kind of feel it, but I was like, I thought maybe I was just dehydrated. Then in Res Dog stream, or the Together Tuesday stream with Res Dog, I was feeling it there too, but I was kind of trying to ignore it. And I think looking back at it, like I think you were there, Yang. I guess I'm like struggling to remember for sure if you were there in Together Tuesday or not. But like there was like a section at which I remember getting like pretty like vocally frustrated with like something, and I was like, why am I performing so poorly? Like I'm struggling so much. I've never struggled so much with this section of Halo. What the fuck is going on? And like I think that was just me being sick. I think it was like a double factor of like one, I'm performing poorly because like I'm performing poorly because like I'm sick, but then also I'm getting frustrated more easily because I'm sick. So it's like a double effect, right? Where it's like both of those things were happening, and I don't think I quite realized it at the time, but I think with hindsight I could say like, oh, that happened because I was starting to feel sick, but I didn't want to acknowledge it. Female elks are called cows, male elks are called bulls. Why do elks get bovine pronouns? Is that true? Hold on, let me okay. Male elk name. Okay, difference between oh my god. Okay, so the difference between a bull elk and a red stack. Male elks. Okay, let me just pull this all over here. So, male elk are called bulls and females are called cows. Holy shit. That's wild. Here, let's read about this. Let's learn. I know I'm in the middle. I'm interrupting my own story, but like, whatever. Okay, so it starts with this paragraph though. What is this whole thing about? So the difference between a bull elk and a red stag. Okay, let's learn some shit. Okay. See, I think most people will agree red deer and elk look very similar at first glance, and it can be easy to confuse the two. In fact, scientists often thought, I think this is a typo, DLK, elk, were a species of red deer for many years. However, recent DNA analysis confirmed that there are actually two different deer species in the I don't know if that's Curvidae or Cervidae. DLKKW. Yeah, I know, right? Like this is like some like I mean I guess I don't know how I've never heard of this website in my life, but it's like I'm not sure how legitimate like this is, but it's like literally like top Google search, right? So you'd think it would maybe be caffeinated DLK. Hey, you know what? If she shows up in chat today, which maybe we'll see, we can tell her about this. um. Anyways, where the fuck was? Fortunately, once you know how to spot the difference between a red stag and a bull elk, it's pretty simple to identify each animal. We'll start with the elk, also known as the wapiti. Wapiti. I'm gonna call it wapiti, or should it be like wapiti because it's like the pity of an orc wa. I don't know. No, that would be if it was. So like it. That would be if it was like how many G. How many A's are in like an orc wa? Hold on. Uh, orc wa. Is it just three? Is it just three for the standard thing? I guess so. Okay. Here, maybe we could read about orcs as well at some point. Maybe I shouldn't get on a tangent though. Orcs only exist because they believe they exist. That's kind of true, actually. Kinda. Rez would know more about how legitimate that is than I do. Though, like, weren't the orcs? at least in the 40k universe, weren't they like created by like I forget what like the old ones or whatever the fuck they were called, which were basically like some like really like ancient gods or something like that. And they also created the Eldar, I think. I'm not sure. I mostly remember that stuff because like I love Necrons, and Necrons back when they were the Necro tier were involved with all that shit. And when they first became Necrons, that like part of that whole thing was like, oh, we're going to war with the Eldar and stuff like that. And the Orcs were also a part of that because like the Eldar and the Orcs were both created by this like forces of life type faction or something to combat the Catan using the Necrons to try to wipe out all life in the universe. Um, but my that was some video I listened to like 2-3 years ago or some shit while I was just doing something else, and my memory of that is so fuzzy. I'm not even sure if like half of what I remember is even true. But it's like some like crazy shit. It's kind of cool. Anyways, what were we? Okay, so the Wapiti. There are several different species of elk, of which Rocky Mountain. So we have Rocky Mountain elk, Roosevelt elk, and the Tule elk are best known. There are even a couple of different subspecies of the elk in the Asian countries of China, Kazakhstan, Korea, Mongolia, and Russia. Hunters have also introduced Rocky Mountain elk to New Zealand. At the time of the first European settlement of the New World, elk lived in almost all of North America. Now, aside from a few populations reestablished in the Great Plains and a couple of the eastern states, their range is restricted primarily to the Rocky Mountain states and provinces of the United States and Canada, such as California, Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia. Elk stream. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you know what, if elk shows up, we're already like doing the thing. We'll see if she shows up. The male elk are called bulls and females are called cows. Average size varies, but elk are one of the largest species in the deer family. Mature bull elk typically weighs 600 to 1,000 pounds. As you can see in the photo below, elk have two-tone coat with a light brown body that transitions into an even darker mane. So, okay, let's look at this. Nice. They also have a distinctive white patch on the fur on the rump. Elk also have a very large and impressive antlers. A mature bull Rocky Mountain elk normally has 6 and sometimes 7 or more uh, tines on each antler. Wild. So why are they called? Okay, so I noticed there's a link here for females are called cows. Let's see. Hunter shoots elk from 875 yards with .308. Why is this what it links to? Hold the fuck up. Why? Why? Why the fuck does females are all called females are called cows? Why does that lead to this? Bruh, why? Oh my god. What the shit? Okay, so on the second day of their hunt, these guys noticed. Who are these guys? Let's watch this redirect to some other weird shit. Are Mountain Mike's European mounting kits worth it? Have you seen these mounting kits before, Ray? Or you've seen these, right? I can read. Why am I reading on stream? Reading is like the thing I am like for whatever reason I just become dyslexic on stream, and I have an aneurysm every time I try to read shit when I'm doing it on stream because I suck at reading things out loud. Yet here I am doing it. It's not exclusive to Zelda. It's just a thing. if you are a serious hunter or like me, hunt from time to time, you probably have seen a few sets of deer racks. Oh yeah, we enjoy those deer racks lying around in your garage. Wait, what? Is this like a thing? Like people just have these laying around? I feel like that'd be a hazard. Like, what if you tripped and impaled yourself on that shit? If they were just laying around. So hold on. So okay. So if this is what leads to this, I wonder what just clicking on this. Where would this lead me? Just deer. It doesn't even work. That is beautiful. It doesn't even work. Forbidden. Beautiful. Beautiful. People use them as trophies. Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, if you have, I was more of like talking about the laying around your garage aspect of it, of like if you had them just around, like, it's like how I have like some trash on the floor laying around. It's like, oh yeah, it's just some deer antlers. Don't worry about it. It's not like you're gonna impale yourself by tripping on them or anything like that. Forbidden deer, yeah. Forbidier. Would it be would forbidden deer just be forbidier? Let me spell it in chat. Like forbid deer. Would it be like that? I don't know. Anyways, we're trying to understand why male and elks are called bulls and females are called cows, and we still don't know. Um, and I don't think that this website's really going to help us, to be honest. But I'm kind of just like skimming now. Okay. So for with the red deers, though, so as compare as in contrast to the elks, male red deers are called stags, and female red deers are hinds. Why hind? Hind is a bit of a weird one to me. But it's not as weird as it's not as weird as this shit though. Um, hmm. I'm finding myself no longer being invested in this though. Do we care anymore? Like it's just like one of those weird facts. I don't know. Screw the figuring out the gender of deer. What a great screensaver for me to come back to. I always forget I have this one until I see it, and then I'm like, oh, that's perfect. I especially love it because like most of my screensavers are like pictures of space or like some really cool dragon art or some shit like that. And then I have shit like this. And honestly, this captures my soul better than anything. just just help. It's beautiful. Fucking beautiful. Fucking Chris Ray gun holding that shit up. Anyways, what the fuck was I actually talking about before we got on deers and like the genders of them and shit? Um, oh, I was talking about how I was sick. God damn, I keep on, I keep on fucking getting off on my own shit. You being sick, yes. So, I don't know. So I was like, started feeling sick, in the streams earlier than this week. I finished off Together Tuesday. Okay, and so I think the other thing with Together Tuesday is that I had that one level that I was like kind of like much more vocally frustrated than I typically am. Um, and I think that was because I was sick, because I was just performing less and I was getting frustrated sooner. But also, I think thinking back to like some of the like later parts of that stream, I was a lot more quiet and less talkative, and I think that was also why. I think I was just like, because I was like starting to feel sick, my body was just like, no talkie, talking's not allowed. Fuck you. And I'm like, okay. Um, so in a way, it kind of worked out that like we ended when we did, especially since like after we closed our streams, he went to go take a nap. I think because he had a collab later. So I was like, yeah, Rez, go do your collab and stuff. Actually, I don't think we even had a formal like, like goodbye to each other or anything, because I think I had gone up to go to the bathroom, and I think by the time I came back, he had already left our Discord call, and I was like, oh, okay. Um, and so like and so then I hung up, and I was like, okay, well, what do I want to do? I still because I still had work that day. In fact, Tuesday I had like 12 appointments for my job, which was uh, noticeably more than usual. Like I would say on like maybe average is probably closer to like 8. So 12 was like, oh shit. Though I actually only ended up doing 11 because one of them um, had to be rescheduled because they that I knew that household only spoke in Spanish, and it's like, oh, I don't know Spanish well enough, quite frankly. Like, it's one of those languages I really ought to know, because like I live in like Mexico is like an hour away from me by car. Like, it's really not that far. I ought to know things better, but I just don't. I mean, I could speak a little bit of Spanish, but it's not great. It's certainly not good enough to talk to someone who could only communicate in Spanish, right? Um, so it's more of like, I understand Spanish to the extent that like if I hear a conversation, I might understand like 10 to 20% of it, which is still is not great, but it's something. Um, and it's also been years since I took any type of Spanish class. Like I took Spanish in high school, and I did pretty well in high school, all things considered. In fact, I actually was one of the better students when it came to like the writing comprehension and stuff, because I actually could understand like the rules of Spanish pretty well, um, and because I had no like natural advantage of like coming from a Spanish speaking household, because I don't. I had to like actually fucking like pay the fuck attention in class and legitimately learn that shit. Um, so when it came to like writing stuff down and looking like reading a paragraph and deciphering that shit, I was pretty good at that compared to the rest of the class. But a lot of the rest of the class would be way better at speaking it, because a lot, like half of them, are Hispanic anyways. So it's like they know how to speak Spanish. I'm white as fuck. Like when I say shit in Spanish, I sound very white. Um, so it's like, when I would go talk in that class, it's like, yeah, this sounds like a white kid that doesn't know how the fuck to speak Spanish, because that's exactly what it is. Um, but like, anyways, I did fairly well in those Spanish classes, but that was like, God, how many years? Like fucking like 8 years or some shit at this point since I took a Spanish class. Maybe even 9. I'm not even sure. My sense of time is thrown off. I feel like everyone's sense of time is thrown off in the pandemic, but mine is. I feel like it's like more thrown off than most people's. Let's see, my Spanish teacher was from Spain, and and I was really good on the history and culture aspects of learning Spanish, but not the actual language part. Yeah, we sometimes some yeah sometimes there was like cultural stuff that would be talked about, and like traditions and shit that would get talked about in our Spanish classes and stuff. Like we talked about stuff from differing cultures of like Mexico and like Peru and Spain and stuff like that. But I didn't care as much about that, not because it's like not important, but because like I was there to learn the language. That was kind of like my focus. So like I cared a lot more about whatever the language stuff was. Um, though I do think it is important to try to understand like different cultures around the world and stuff like that. Um, so from like a historical standpoint, like if I'm like tapping into like my history nerd, then that type of shit became a lot more. That became a lot more important, I guess. But yeah. Um, anyways, so anyways, I on Tuesday I had a lot of appointments and stuff. Though my earliest one was like, still a good chunk of time after we ended our Together Tuesday stream. So I was like, I had like a 2.5 hour window before I needed to get ready. So I was kind of sitting there like, oh, what should I do? And I'm like, I don't know. And I was just like, I'm kind of tired. And so like I laid down in bed, and I'm like, I don't want to risk an actual nap. So what I did is that I set alarms for like every like half hour, I think, between when I lay down in bed and when I needed to eventually wake up. So the idea was that I would give myself rest, but not full sleep. And so I'd kind of be in this like weird in between state. Um, and I actually, that worked pretty well. I'm surprised how well I executed that. Because I could have easily just been like, I fell asleep and slept through like half of the day. Especially considering I was feeling sick, and like, well, yeah, when you're sick, you kind of need that rest a little bit more. Though I do think it was very good, I still got the amount of rest I did get, because it allowed me to, you know, be a little bit less tired. Though I was still tired throughout the entire day, I went, drove around to all these different appointments, walked around their houses, pulled the fucking pesticide hose behind me and all that shit. But I mentioned earlier that like I had like 12 appointments lined up, only actually needed to do 11 of them. But like I still found myself actually needing to wait quite a bit. So like I started later than I might usually do for some appointments, because I think my earliest one appointment was at like a 9 a.m. or something like that. Um, and like it's not too unusual to have appointments that are at like 8 or sometimes even like 7:30 or earlier, which like is a pain, but like it's a little bit more normal. So like having one that's a touch later is like, oh, that's more time to like get ready, um, or to get some rest or whatever. Um, but even with that slightly later start than usual and all those appointments I had to do, I still managed to get through quickly enough that like I had my last few appointments. But what my last appointment was a 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. appointment, and like I had two other appointments in that exact same neighborhood, and I found myself at um, that like second to last, or like one of those houses at like 1:30 or something like that. And I did that house, and I just like after like doing the house, I just kind of sat there and listened to the radio for like 45 minutes or something. Did the next house and did a similar thing, just kind of sat around and waited a bit until it was like 3:45, and I'm like, that's close enough to 4. Let's go to the actual house. um but like I don't know, it's weird to me that I still managed to like get through that fast. but it was also useful that I got to just sit there because I kind of like almost took like mini naps as I was like listening to the radio because I just like laid there, like sat there in like the driver's seat with the radio going, and I was just kind of leaning on my arm or my hand or whatever, and I was just like, I kind of and I just like closed my eyes and shit, just kind of letting myself rest because I was fucking tired. um, and then did that last appointment, came home, and I was just like, fuck, dude. um, but I managed to get through Tuesday, which I was kind of surprised about, especially considering. Uh, so I think to, I went to bed on Tuesday around like 8:30 p.m. or something like that. And I was feeling pretty fucking tired. So, but my next day, my earliest appointment was like 8 to 12. So like I had a large window of time in which I could show up, and like it was fine. And then also it was like 2 minutes away from my house. Like it was like one neighborhood over. So I was like, oh, I could probably leave at 8 and get there, and it would look like I showed up there like reasonably early. Wow, what a punctual worker. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm thinking like, okay, I'm going to bed around 8:30 because I'm just fucking tired from a long ass day, and I'm feeling a little bit sick. Oh, because that's the other thing. It's so throughout the day, it became a lot more clear that I definitely was sick because my throat got more sore, and I just did not want to talk. Like I didn't even want to like I didn't even want to like road rage at anyone or anything like that. Like sometimes like when there's like some because here's the thing, the most dangerous shit about my job is the driving aspect of things. Like forget all the pesticides, it's driving. That's by far the most dangerous. Um, and it's like when there's like some dumb shit that happens on the road, like I'm usually just like, God damn it, what a fucking cunt or some shit like that, or like I'll see someone like change lanes without turning signal, and I'm just like, come on, man, you know better. I'll just kind of say these comments like to myself, either to vent my frustration or even to just kind of amuse myself. Depends on my mood, I suppose. But like, I was just like, my throat was so getting like so sore, and I'm just like, I'm not even like pretending to vocalize this shit. I'm just like dead in terms of my expression. Um, and like I kind of dreaded like as I was getting to some of the later appointments, I kind of dreaded like ringing someone's doorbell and having to say, "Hey, I'm so and so with the company." But I managed to like power through at least those sentences because at the very least, like I while there is that customer interaction, it's not a lot of interaction really, because most of the job I'm just alone, which I actually really appreciate. It gives me a lot of time with my thoughts and stuff, which I that's something I value a lot, as a person. Like it's kind of part of why I like to do streaming is like I get to just kind of exist, kind of by myself, but not. It's weird. It's like I get to exist here, and I'm kind of just like it's like I'm talking to myself. Because for all intents, especially early on, that's how it feels. And there's definitely some streams where that is basically all that's happening because there's like nothing happening in my chat, and that's fine. Um, sometimes, sometimes I'm not so fine with it. Most of the time, I'm fine with it though. Like I try to like assure anyone who likes to lurk in my streams that like you're fine if you're lurking. Like you're actually appreciated. Especially since like I could see like the number of people who are like watching, and so it's like if you're there, but you're not saying anything, but I could see that you're there. It's like, well, you're at least listening to me talk about whatever dumb shit I'm on, so it can't be that bad, right? Like, I should at least take some amount of solace in that, especially since I kind of like the idea that my channel is a place where people would come to kind of just vibe, not necessarily have this like crazy wacky adventures. Like that's not really my style as a person. Like sure, I'll have my like gremlin moments. I'll kind of there will be my moments of like where I do some like dumb chaotic shit, but like mostly it's just I'm I don't know. I don't I'm not a very hyperactive person. I'm not a very high energy person. I'm generally a low energy person. Um, and you know, I'm not trying to create some kind of persona uh, or fake version of myself on stream. Not that like if you do that type, like if you create a persona, if you're a streamer or you go and become a streamer and you create some kind of persona for yourself, that's totally fine and valid. In fact, that honestly will probably be more successful than my approach. But like, um, but it's just like I realized like before I even did any of this that like that's just not it's not what I want to do. Um, um, anyways, I'm still trying to talk about how I was sick this week. Man, can't even finish my story of how I was sick this week without going on like I don't know how many tangents I've been on. Too many. um, so, anyways, I managed to get through Tuesday. I went to bed like 8:30 that night. My earliest appointment was like 8 to noon the next day, and so I was like plenty of window. It's also like within 5 minutes of my house. I could get there real fast, no issue. It's fine. And like sure there's like a, like 10 appointments or something, so it's still like total workload is still going to be decently high, but I'm like thinking to myself, well, I'm going to get plenty of rest, like I'm gonna be fine on that, right? um so I went to bed, and I did not have a great sleep. In fact, I woke up at least twice, with oddly enough pretty severe like stomach pains. Well, okay, not severe might be overstating it, but like it was like, but like the hunger pangs, when you're hungry and your stomach is like basically stabbing you, saying put food in me because it's a dick and it hates you, that type of shit. So, and it's like I think one time this happened at like 2 like 19 in the morning, another time at like 5 in the morning or some shit. Like I don't even fucking entirely remember, because it was kind of delirious. Stomach starts eating itself. Yeah, no, yeah, that is basically what it does. um so I got up, I like zombied my way to the fridge, grabbed a strawberry the first, like, so this is the first time I zombied my way to the fridge, opened it up, grabbed a strawberry, ate it, went back to bed, and just went and fell back asleep. When it happened again, um, I did the same thing, went to the fridge, but I felt myself. But I was just like, I thought to myself, I don't want this shit to happen again. So I'm just like, okay, let me grab the box that the strawberries are in, because there's only like 2 more strawberries in there anyways. So if I just needed, because I was feeling exhausted just in the process of walking to the kitchen, which, bear in mind, the kitchen's actually on the other side of the house from me. So like it's actually like, it's not I'm walking like 5 steps and I'm there. It's like I'm walking the entire length of the house basically. So that was kind of shitty. Um, and I just felt my body just kind of like giving it out as I'm doing so. But anyways, I did the same thing, grabbed a strawberry, ate it so that my stomach would stop fucking killing itself, collapsed back into bed. And oh, hey, it's Caffeinated Elk. We were talking about you earlier. Because we were. So, did you know, Caffeinated Elk, that, well, you probably do because it's you. Um, but I learned today from Yang here that male elk are called bulls and female elk are called cows, and that's so fucking weird to me. And this is information, by the way, that was obtained and led to a tangent in the middle of me explaining how I got sick this week, which is something I'm still in the process of telling because I am very bad at staying on topic and not going on tangents. It's pretty common for herding animals. Elephants are called bulls and cows too. Wait, really? Same with whales? Hold the fuck on. Really? I just didn't know that. Okay. Elephants. Okay, so male and female elephant names. Oh, okay, yeah, so it's the same shit here. Bull and cow. Let's look at this. Jack, Jenny. Okay. Boar. Huh. And sow. Tom, queen, kitten. Bull, cow, calf. And so, is there any other instance of bull, cow, calf? There's also one down here. Yeah, whale. Yeah, there it is. Huh. And so I also noticed there's this boar and sow pattern. So there's bears are boar and sow. So are swine. Is anything else? No. Huh. Man, lions have it pretty good though. Pretty direct. It's just lion and lioness. There's no question about it. This one's a bit weird for foxes. I knew vixen was female fox. I didn't know male was just dog. Huh. Wait, buck and doe. Where else did I see that? Oh yeah, with rabbit. Oh, okay. Huh. Okay. Hmm. I love with sheep. It's like you have the ram and you have the ewe. It's like you fucking look at like you got like some fucking like sheep and they're like girls are ew. And specifically female cows that haven't mothered a calf is called a heifer. Huh. Okay. Anyways, um, back to the story of my Tuesday into Wednesday night, or is it's just heifer? Okay. I read it as heifer because it's of the EI, and I'm inclined to read any kind of EI in a German way. Um, because my last name is German and it has the EI. But, anyways, fuck it. What was I? Okay, anyways, I didn't sleep well between Tuesday and Wednesday. But I got up around like 7:30 to get myself ready for work and shit. Um, and I started going through process. I got some water because I knew I was thirsty, and with me being aware of my sore throat, I'm like, I'm gonna need some fucking water. So I went up and got that. Then I went to go to the bathroom, and I was, you know, I was in the bathroom for a bit, and then like I started feeling like just like fucking like dizzy and tired and shit, and I realized, oh, I am fatigued. I am about to pass out if I don't lay down in my bed right the fuck now. So I just like I think I might have left my cup in there. I don't even remember, to be honest. But I just basically like left the bathroom, came to my room, and just like threw myself onto the bed just to like let my body relax. It's like tension or whatever was happening. And like I instantly felt this wave of like, okay, all that's gone. But I just like laid there for like a solid like 10 minutes, just like not wanting to exhaust my body. Um, Happy New Year. Oh, yeah, it is Happy New Year for you over there in Florida. Yeah, Happy New Year, Yang. What's it like from the future? How's 2022? Actually, you know what? We'll probably talk about how we think 2022 will be in a bit. Assuming I ever finish the story of how I was sick this week. Um, but, um, but yeah, so I was experiencing pretty severe fatigue, and I was like, ah, shit, this is not good, especially since like my job, it's not like construction work or anything like that. I'm not like lifting super heavy things. I mostly just pull a hose, but it's like it is like physical labor still, and I can't just be fatigued. And I was like, oh god, I gotta like tell my boss. Oh no. And but I'm also like, because I'm like fatigued and tired and all that shit, it's like I'm not even sure if I have the energy to even like pick up the phone or anything. So I managed to like grab my phone, and I just like texted my manager and said, "Hey, I'm sick and really fatigued. I can't work today. I am very sorry about that." And she was super super cool about that, which was like relieving to me when I saw that. But like basically, I sent that text, set the phone down, and was just like, I just lay there in bed and passed out for like 3 hours. Um, and I felt bad about the whole situation too, because I'm like, I don't just want to like not do work, but it's like I literally can't. So I'm like trying to like convince myself to not feel bad about it, which like I really shouldn't, because it's like basic like shit, like if I literally cannot do the thing. But it's like I think I felt bad because it's like it's a small local company that, and know the people there pretty well. In fact, I've known the owner since I was a kid. Um, Even though I only recently started working here, um, and like they're pretty great people overall. So like I didn't want to make things more stressful for them and stuff. Um, but that's just me being, I don't know, an empathetic asshole or something. I don't know. Um, but yeah. Um, Thankfully, though, I was able to like by the end of Wednesday, I was feeling better. Well, not great, but a little bit. I wasn't feeling fatigued, you know. So then yesterday and today, while I still was feeling like sore throat and shit, I wasn't no longer feeling fatigued. So I was able to actually pick up some of that work that couldn't be done on Wednesday. Um, though today I honestly kind of hated doing it because I feel like I didn't really get a day off work because like I did technically get a day off work, but it's because I was sick. And normally I would have normally I don't work Thursdays or Fridays, but I did this week. But it's fine. It's over and done with. The nice thing though is that I don't have to work tomorrow, which is part of why I'm doing this stream because I don't have to worry about anything tomorrow. So that's nice. So, and thankfully, because I was starting to feel better, by the end of Wednesday and yesterday and stuff like that, I started feeling more confident in my ability to like actually do the stream because I had mentioned it on Monday and on Tuesday in those streams. But me getting sick, like right in the middle of the week, kind of threw a lot of doubt into that. So I was like really concerned about my ability to actually do this. And there's still some amount of doubt because, like, it's not. I'm not fully recovered, but I am. I'm mostly better. I mean, the fact that that I've been rambling for, I don't know, 45 minutes, like straight, that's pretty good. Anyways, I don't know. That was my week. How are things going with you guys? I said that through a bite of food. I probably shouldn't have done that. That's not good etiquette. Why are you doubting? You're literally doing it right now. Well, yeah, I know, but like, I guess let me it's not so much my ability to sustain the stream. I guess like it's like a because it's like I want to do this at least to midnight my time. To kind of usher in the new year. Though honestly, probably past midnight here, probably more like 1 a.m. Is kind of what I'm thinking. So I guess that would come out to a total of 4 hour long stream. Um, but I also don't have a plan for the stream. Like I wrote down some ideas for what I could do for the stream, or what I could talk about during the stream and stuff. But like, I kind of wanted to leave it pretty open, especially since like if I have a bunch of people who actually show up for a stream and they want to talk about some stuff, I'd rather prioritize you guys. So. I might need to get water soon, though. I still have some water in this cup, but when I run out, I should get some more. Your stomach's been upset this day? Oh no. That's no fun. I mean, being sick just fucking. And you know what? I haven't been sick since. Oh, and I should probably specify this. I'm like 90+% sure this sickness was like a cold. I don't think it was like, the big one. Because it was, well, one of the things that kind of makes me think more cold than the everything is like I feel it more in my sinuses. Like I feel like mucusy up in my sinuses like right now, and I've had like some phlegm and stuff like that. That's stuff that is definitely more akin to a cold than the big coof. Um, Not that I would necessarily be super concerned even if it was that, because it would be I mean, I guess maybe it would be more important in the sense that it would be a breakthrough case, and knowing that might be important. Um, but like I got my vaccines, back in like August. I haven't gotten booster yet though, but I'm thinking of doing that maybe sometime in the next week or so. Um, but um, but I haven't been sick since like before the pandemic. Like I was last time I could really recall being sick was like February of 2020. Um, and at least here in the US, that was kind of before things really popped off here. Um, and I think basically the reason why I haven't gotten sick in that time is like, well, I was able to actually live a pretty isolated life where I wasn't really interacting with people. Um, and then also on top of that, everyone's wearing their everyone, not everyone, but like a lot of people are, including myself, are wearing masks and stuff. We're being more cognizant of like washing our hands and shit like that, keeping distance. So turns out those are just good basic measures to have just to prevent sickness full stop. But yeah. Um but it had been a while since I had even been sick, so I was like, oh, that's what it's like. Okay. But it was like familiar enough, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be fine. Like, even though I had like fatigue that was bad enough that I like couldn't even do my job. Like, yeah, that fucking sucked. But like I was still able to recognize that like not in like I'm not experiencing anything too serious. It was pretty quick for me to realize that, and well, especially since like within a matter of days I'm feeling better, like significantly better. So, anyways, I haven't gotten sick where I just got hit with major fatigue since back in high school, which for you was about 3 years ago. It sucks. Yeah, haven't gotten seriously sick in ages. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for some people, it just takes like you can go like really long without even getting sick. I guess it just kind of depends on your lifestyle and how much you interact with people and how you interact with those people and what types of health measures you take as an individual and stuff. And also just like how good your immune system is, because like some people just have stronger immune systems that will just fight off fucking everything like it's nothing. So, see, I swear people wash their hands less now that they think the masks are the best protection ever. Maybe where you are, I don't know. Well, maybe where I am too. I am not exactly paying attention to everyone washing their hands. I just make sure to wash my hands thoroughly. So I'm more concerned with like my own behavior because I'm not exactly there to watch other people wash their hands because that's kind of weird, you know. Um, but I don't know. It's I. My guess is that most people where I live are more have made more of an effort to wash their hands thoroughly than not, because while the state I live in is like a little bit more conservative, I live in a more urban part of that state, which will be more more liberal and stuff. And not to say that that's like the sole thing that decides whether or not you buy into all this stuff, but there's different cultural attitudes about how thorough to be with certain types of health measures and stuff. Um, used to be sick all the time growing up. I would have a cold or flu every week. I don't know if I've actually ever had the flu. In fact, my in a conversation with my mom a few weeks ago, she says like I don't think she said that she doesn't think I've ever had the flu. Um, or if I did, it was like maybe when I was very young or something like that. But it's been true, like it's just insanely long period of time with never getting it, um, which is like a little bit odd. And so, at least, well, maybe it's not odd. I don't know, but it's like because I'll get colds. And in fact, I feel like before the pandemic, I would get a cold like at least like once a year. Um, but like colds are basically all I ever get. Um, maybe my body's just better at fighting off flu than it is like some like you know uh like the common cold or whatever. But like I don't know. At one point I had gotten swine flu. Ooh, that's no. Well, I guess I can't. I guess I don't know how fun or not fun that. I imagine any flu is not fun. um, and man, I remember when swine flu was like the thing, because that was like actually that was about the time I would have met Rez. Because that was like what 2008 or some shit. We would have like just gotten into middle school, the both of us. Um, and I remember like the kid, like I remember kids like bullying each other because like middle school kids are fucking assholes and they bully each other over the stupidest shit. But I remember like they would bully certain kids about like oh they had the swine flu because they're ew or whatever, like dumb kid shit. Um, and like I remember going to get like the swine flu vaccine with my family and stuff and waiting in line, and I remember seeing like a local news reporter there and shit. But that one went over pretty quickly, but I think it's because they already had the vaccine pretty much ready to go. Like they just had to just make more and get it everywhere, but I don't think they had to develop it. Whereas with the pandemic we just had, part of why it had to take a while was that they had to actually develop the vaccine. But that's not to say that we're out of the woods yet, because we're definitely not. But it's weird to kind of remember that kind of earlier pandemic, even though it wasn't really that big a deal. I think that's kind of almost um, what may have created some amount of complacency in people in like late 2019, early 2020, when like news of COVID was like initially coming out. It was because like a lot of, and I kind of blame corporate news for this, to be honest. But like they were talking about it in the same vein as like do you remember fucking Ebola? You remember how like people were losing their minds over Ebola, like it was gonna like ravage the country and shit. This was like what 2014, I think, is when Ebola was a thing. But it was like devastating West Africa because they don't really have good medical infrastructure there, and they have these. In fact, they just don't have as good infrastructure. Period. Um, and so that was part of the issue. And like you had like, um, these people living in these villages together, and like someone's dying of a disease, they don't know what it is, and they're tending to them, like they as as like you would, because like family and shit like that. And in the process, they end up making contact with those bodily fluids, and like, well, it turns out bodily fluids are how Ebola is transferred. So now the people who are taking care of their family members are also getting it, and they don't even know what it is because like they just know that it's some terrible sickness. So that fucking sucks. Um, and so there were news reports of this outbreak in like West Africa happening back in 2014, and people and like corporate media here in the US was like losing their goddamn minds like this shit was gonna happen here. And it's like, no fuck it isn't. It's just it kills you too fast is basically like what my dad said. My dad's a doctor, by the way. But I remember talking to him about it. And he said, like, yeah, so one of the so there's like, a couple things is like here in the US, like we just have way better medical infrastructure to like stop this shit in its tracks. And it turns out just like very effective, like a strong quarantine of anyone who's been infected is actually extremely effective. And one of the main problems in terms of this becoming a pandemic, specifically Ebola, in his words, was that like it just kind of kills you too fast um, to really spread, and it's not like a super contagious thing. Like, yeah, if you interact with the bodily fluids of the person who's infected with it, that will most likely transfer it. But like beyond that, you might actually like you're not. It's not like with with COVID where it's you basically breathe the same air as someone and you can get it. Um, yeah, it relies too much on liquid to spread. Yeah, exactly. Caffeinated milk. Yeah. Um, see, at that time we had recently lost the house and we were sleeping in the car between looking for somewhere to live. I was laying in the back of the car just having a horrible time. Yeah. Yeah, that's I assume you're referring to the swine flu there. Yeah. Yeah, no, my family was fortunate enough to not really have to suffer through too much through any honestly any of these pandemics. In a way, I'm very lucky to not have had to face too many of the horrors of these things. Um, so I guess I'm blessed in that sense, which I guess that's some positivity I should probably try to hold on to more because I'm not very good at holding on to positive thoughts. Um, COVID doesn't make you bleed out of every hole in your body. No, it doesn't. But it can fuck you up. Um, so I would still advise doing what you could to not get that, which includes everything from washing your hands thoroughly to getting your vaccines. Um, so, and I'll leave it at that. So, anyways, I was trying to talk shit on corporate media though. Um, so when COVID-19 reports were first coming out in like late 2019, early 2020, I remember the news talking about it in a very similar vein to like Ebola, which they were losing back in 2014. They were losing their minds about how this shit was going to tear through the U.S. and no the fuck it wasn't. People who actually knew their shit about Ebola were like, no the fuck it isn't. Um, but corporate news media loves your sensational headlines, and so they just ran those pieces like crazy, and they did the same. They did a very similar thing in the early days of this pandemic, but because it read so fucking similar, it felt so fucking similar to the time before. I remember thinking, I'm not, I wasn't really convinced early on that it was really going to be that big a deal. For a while, and I'm talking like this is like January and like the early part of February 2020, I'm like thinking like, no, this really isn't the biggest news right now. In fact, even the news wasn't covering it that heavily. Like I'm saying, like, oh, they covered it in this type of way, but that wasn't even the big news story. At least in the U.S., that wasn't even the big news story at the time. Because in January of 2020, they were hyper focused on the impeachment trial, um, and sure, that's big news and all, but one can't help and think and wonder if they just spent, even they cut their if they cut their coverage of that like in half, or even by a quarter or something like that, and focus that more on like this, you know, this pandemic that might be occurring, and actually talk to like some serious fucking doctors about this shit that really know their shit, they might come to realize, oh no, this shit is actually really serious, and we should maybe be talking about this more because this is gonna, because it turns out that disease might matter a hell of a lot more in 6 months than the other thing they're covering, which is absolutely the case. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if me bringing up the impeachment, you might have been like, oh yeah, that's right, that was a thing, because yeah, that was a thing, and it basically had like no long lasting fucking impact on anything, you know? So, and I'm worried that, when we eventually get out of this shit, that like, I'm worried people are not going to take the right lessons. Well, I think people are definitely not going to take the right lessons from the pandemic, but one of the ones I'm worried about the most is like corporate media is going to think like, oh, we did just fine with a pandemic. We did our due diligence. You see, we warned people, but it's like, no, the fuck you didn't. You were too busy with other shit that didn't really matter. And I get it. There's like other important shit going on. There's also, a Democratic primary happening, which, like, yeah, that's actually really fucking important too. So it's not to say that there aren't other important things to talk about, but it's like you have to try to learn where the most important shit is, and then how you talk about that shit also matters too. You can't talk about COVID in the same way you talk about Ebola because they're fundamentally different diseases, and that fundamental difference is the difference between one that kind of fizzles out and one that becomes the defining issue of both 2020 and 2021, right? So, anyways, let's see, what are you saying, Yank? Actually, I don't know if I've actually missed a lot of comments. Hold on. Okay, actually, not as many as I thought. Okay. Viruses favor spreading over deadliness, and COVID is following the same evolutionary trend, I think. Basically, yeah. I mean, you could argue every disease, virus, bacteria, whatever, or just anything that you might count as living, though viruses aren't technically living, I think. I think they're just, I don't know. I'm not a biologist, so I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty on that. Um, but like basically anything that evolves, their thing is to keep existing and passing on their genes. That is like the thing. Um, and so yeah, a disease like COVID, it'll do the same shit. So that's why when these variants pop up, it's like that's the disease evolving and adapting to new things and stuff. So now, thankfully, it's not really getting deadlier in the process. It's maybe getting better at spreading, but it's not. Um, to the extent that it's deadlier because it's spreading more. Um, you know, viruses adapt, die, and devour. I call it living thing. That's a decent. Yeah, I'm just. I know there's like some biologists and doctors can like have like specific like lines that and thresholds that need to be crossed, and I don't really, I'm not, I don't understand that shit very well. So and it might not even be viruses I'm thinking of. It might be something else that I'm forgetting that is kind of like acts like a living thing but isn't. So I don't know. I could be misremembering. Anyways, what did Yang say? Corporate media and politicians don't really care. Yeah, that's kind of true. Um, you you care more about it than the people enforcing those mandates. Um, I mean, yeah, no, I think, yeah. You think corporate, uh, yeah, you think corporate media cares about telling the news? They only care about clicks and views. Oh, I don't think they give a fuck at all. Like, I'm saying what's happening here, and I'm only talking. Like, I don't watch corporate news. I really don't. Um, but I'm aware that like a lot of people do, and for a lot of people that is like their sole news source, which is like terrible because, quite frankly, if you're watching like Fox News, CNN, or MSNBC, and that's like the only news source you have, you are better off watching nothing at all. You will be better off, you will be more informed not watching them, or not watching anything, than watching only those. Because holy shit, they're so bad. They're so fucking bad. Um, so I highly recommend against watching any corporate news at all. And that's not to say that they can't have decent segments from time to time, but it's just like so much of it is so bad that like I'm not sure if it's like is it really worth going through a river of shit just to pick up one like gold nugget? I don't know about that, you know. Um, like sometimes like CNN might put out something that's like actually a solid like piece of news, but like it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't justify the like everything else, you know. Same goes for MSNBC and Fox News. The deadlier strains are dying out while the less deadly ones are winning out. Yeah, I think that's a similar phenomenon to what my dad was describing with Ebola. Where like if a disease is too deadly, and this applies to any disease, like this isn't like just Ebola when he was talking about this, but it came up because I was asking about Ebola. Um, but like any disease that kills you too fast doesn't spread to other hosts, right? So if you die but you don't even spread it, well, that's the virus has run its course within you, and then that's where it dies because it has nowhere to go. Whereas if a if a disease is less deadly, it has more of a you will actually live with the disease longer, which actually gives the disease more opportunity to spread. Um, so it's definitely some fascinating shit. And if I was maybe about 1,000 times more motivated than I was, I might have actually gone into like the medical field or some shit. But it's just like I know that shit is just like so insanely stressful. And that's not even like and that's just like getting through medical school, just actually doing the job of a doctor. That might be the most stressful part because I've seen firsthand, well, not firsthand, I guess secondhand. And is it firsthand or secondhand if I'm like watching how stressful it is on my own, on like my dad? Because like growing up, I could, especially as I like got older, I was became more aware that like, oh, being a doctor can cause an incredible amount of stress on my dad. Like he gets through it and stuff and stuff, but like like it's probably why when I was like 13, he got really bad depression and like kind of stopped eating for a bit. And it was not a great time in our life. For the record, he's doing a hell of a lot better these days. In fact, I think he stopped needing to take like any kind of medication for depression like 6 years ago or something. So he's doing fantastic, which I'm very happy about that. But there's definitely a strong effect watching like being a teenager, like a young teenager too, and watching like your dad struggle through that type of shit. and I don't, I'm not saying it was solely because he was a doctor that he experienced that shit. Because honestly, our family has a natural proclivity towards like depression and anxiety. So he was probably going to get it no matter what eventually. Um, but for sure, I think the type of shit he would see as being a doctor could feel that. I watch the memeable sections of corporate news because it's funny and as formative as other memes. Yeah, fair. I think most of the time when I think there's basically two main contexts in which I will end up watching something from corporate news. One is when it's like, because like one of the guys I actually go to for like political like news and shit is Kyle Kalinske, and he runs the YouTube channel Secular Talk. So sometimes he'll be covering something, and like, oh, maybe CNN or did a has a clip that's very useful for him to use, or maybe there was some crazy Fox News segment and he just like wants to talk about it because like what the fuck just happened over there. So it's like I'm basically watching corporate news in the context of someone else talking about what the fuck just happened. Um, and like he has a very anti-corporate news philosophy anyway, so like he's usually dunking on these networks. So it's not like, or he's like debunking them in the process, or whatever the fuck. Um, and the other context in which I might end up watching corporate news is if I'm like at someone else's house and they have and they have the channel on. So like sometimes when I go to my dad's house, um, he like they might have CNN on. Um, or like sometimes when I'm going around like with my job, sometimes I'm doing like the pesticide, spraying the pesticide inside the house, um, and like sometimes they'll just have like they'll have like Fox News on or CNN on. It'll vary from customer to customer. Um, and so like that's kind of the main way in which I'll even like see or hear anything from the like those networks, and I'm like, okay, they're and like most of it is honestly pretty mundane and like who cares. But sometimes they have some segments that are like, what the fuck are they talking about? And oh my god, is that really their deranged take on the situation? Of course, I can't. My mind is blanking on any specific example, but you know, I'm sure you could find them if you just. I'm sure YouTube has some great clips if you want to look around. All right. Let's see. Where else? You learn most of your stuff through memes, and it's surprisingly effective. Yes and no. It kind of depends on what the meme's about. Um, this just makes me think of how surprising we are to how surprising it is that we were able to effectively eradicate smallpox. Well, you see, the thing is with smallpox, when they came up with that vaccine, they didn't have this giant anti-vax movement, and that's a big fucking deal. Because when most people are like, well, okay, most people are not anti-vax, but like when you don't even have like the anti-vax movement, really, like people take their fucking shots and they move on with their lives because it's just fucking good. Like this shit just works. um, so um, here, hold on, my voice is starting to get a little tired. I'm about to like run out of water. Um, I'm gonna go get more water, so I'll put us on a break screen, and then I'll come back. Okay. And I can see that Captain L got something, so I'll read that when I come back. All right. Okay, I'm back. All right. All right. So where was I? Um. Okay, so next thing is that hygiene is important. If our body isn't busy fighting 8 different bacterial infections, it has more energy and resources to fight a virus. That's a good point. Yeah. Because yeah, you know, and it's not so much that your body isn't incapable of fighting multiple diseases at once. It's just more of a matter of energy. Like it does take up energy to fight off any given disease, and if there's like if you are, it makes it a lot easier if like part of that energy doesn't have to go to figuring out how to even like create the antibody for whatever thing you're doing. Like if you have like let's say the smallpox vaccine and your body encounters smallpox, it's like, oh, hey, that's smallpox. We know the thing that we need to create that. Okay, body, go create the antibody for this. All right, cool. And then the immune system just does that thing, and then it basically takes care of the thing before it even does anything to you. Um, Effectively granting you immunity, and that's how like the vast majority of vaccines work. To broadly simplify what's going on there. Again, I'm not a doctor. Like my dad's a doctor, but that does not make me a doctor. It does not make me a medical expert. But to broadly simplify and generalize what the fuck a vaccine does, it basically does that. Um, which is pretty fucking useful. Anyways. So maybe we should talk about how this year went. Because, it's we're how deep are we into this? We're like, God, we're an hour 43 in. Damn, I've been talking about bullshit for a while. Um, but yeah, this is the year that I started streaming. I started streaming back February 19th is when I started. Um, and it basically started at so like I was God. Okay, I feel like to provide some context of how of like where my mind was at that point in my life. Well, I guess in some ways it's not too different from where I am now, which I don't know if that's a good thing, but I'll table that thought for now. But so coming into the new year of 2021 was not it. That period in my life was not the best because in about a year ago, so like December 2020, my girlfriend had COVID, and that scared the shit out of me. Because bear in mind, this is before we have vaccines or anything, right? So I was terrified of what would happen. Because, well, I didn't want to lose her. Um, but I think, but like by the end of year, by the end of like, or maybe it was like early January, but like basically around the cusp of the new year, she really was showing signs of like being better and stuff, and I was like, kind of breathing a bit of a sigh of relief about that. And so like kind of turn of the new year in 2021, I was like, oh, thank God, she's going to be okay. Um, Things are going to be okay. Oh, that's good. Um, and so I started to feel a little bit more motivation for some things in my life, like because like I had been the DM for a campaign that I had been doing with Rez and a friend of ours for a while. And, I was in the stage of like, oh, I need to like finish out the finale of this campaign. I need to build this last set of encounters and stuff. And that was something I had set out to do, in like early on in 2020, but then that didn't happen. And not just because of the pandemic, but because I'm terribly unmotivated, and bad at following up on my own plans. Because my goal was to have most of it done by the end of January 2020. And to give you a little bit of a spoiler for how bad I am at that specific aspect of myself, it is literally the last day of 2021, and I have not accomplished that goal. Now, in my defense, some big things have happened in my life since then, but still. But anyway, so January 2021, I started feeling more motivation to actually seriously like pushing myself on that and expanding the lore of the universe and stuff like that. And so I was like, in my Google Docs, like typing out a bunch of information. I was in Tabletop Simulator, adding stuff to the boards. And I was talking to Rez about some, stuff without giving too much away because I was excited about it. And then towards the end of January, all of that basically stopped and like got like completely dropped because Rez got COVID. And that one was even scarier because he actually did need to go to the hospital at one point. My girlfriend never needed to go to the hospital. She was able to just kind of stay in her bed the entire time and be fine. But Rez did have to go to the hospital once. I don't think he needed anything too serious, but he did at least need to visit. And I think they give him some steroids or some shit. I don't remember. You'll have to ask him. But I do remember, like, there's like a week where I was texting my dad about the situation, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, what do I do? What do I tell him? Because like my dad's a doctor, I'm trying to lean on his medical knowledge and to like try to give advice to my best friend. And I'm like, fuck, dude. And I so in a similar way that I was terrified when my girlfriend had COVID, I was very similarly terrified when Rez had COVID, especially since I also knew. In fact, maybe I was even more terrified for him because I knew Rez has asthma. Like, it's something that he's had the entire time I've known him. Now, it's not something you would necessarily notice if you interact with him because he doesn't have it too bad. Like, it's not like he needs the inhaler, like, like every sentence, like that one kid from Malcolm in the Middle. Um, but like he does have that condition. Um, I need your help. It's completely unrelated to COVID and will come out of left field. Okay. Can we table that thought for a second, so I could talk about just what I'm talking about? Um, yeah, Rez has asthma. Yeah. So, like I said, it's something that you probably wouldn't even realize. In fact, it may even be part of why he pushed himself so hard to be more like physically fit, because that does help with asthma. If you're like really physically fit, it doesn't affect you as much. I mean, I guess I'm not entirely sure how true that is, but you know, whatever works as a motivation, I guess. Regardless, I was very concerned at the time, because, and Kelvin did, or Rez did have to go to um, the hospital, and he had like pneumonia. He had been given some steroids. Like, I was so in this like state of panic that like I legitimately like was scared that my best friend was going to die. That was that was awful. Fuck, I'm like starting to remember some of the. That was not a good week. That was not a good week at all. Well, it's more like a week and a half. I don't know. It sucked a lot, and because like he's dealing with it himself. He's not in voice chat a whole lot. He's not being all that active in Discord. So I'm not getting these like constant interactions with him like I'm used to, and so like I get a little bit more panicky. Um, and so yeah, I don't know. It was just I was legitimately worried he was going to die, and I did not want to acknowledge that thought, and I still don't want to. It, it's not something I think anyone. It's not something I would recommend. But thankfully, he did recover. He did get better, and there was a point at which like it was clear that he was, on the upswing and recovering from COVID, and we were all starting to breathe a sigh of relief with that. So now we're in February at that point, like first couple weeks of February, and I'm like, okay, okay, ooh, breathing a sigh of relief and stuff, and like and I'm just kind of in this state of like, maybe needing some kind of amount of comfort or something like that. Ow! I just bit my tongue because I'm stupid. Ow! Fuck that hurt. Ah, okay, I'm okay. But so one other thing I had been both Rez and I to some extent, but mostly me, had been doing kind of throughout 2020, just sporadically with some of the games that we play, is like we would use the Discord streaming. Like I remember, in like May or no, maybe it was July of like 29, no, not 20, 2020. Um, I wanted to share the story of StarCraft with Rez. So I started playing that, but I also streamed it in our Discord because I wanted to share it with him. Um, and then he also later did the same thing with Control, which he's actually now streaming. He started streaming that this week on his channel, so that's pretty cool. But he was streaming that in Discord like a little bit after that, and we didn't do this with like every game. It was like the occasional game here and there. So in this like so back into February of this year, he's just recovering from COVID. I'm like breathing a sigh of relief that he's going to be okay, and I'm curious about emulators because I've never really played around with emulators before, and I'm like, well, you know, it would be really cool if I could play my favorite game right now. My favorite game being The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And so I looked into emulators for that game and I got Dolphin. And, I got Twilight Princess for it. I also got a couple other things, but it was mostly for Twilight Princess. And I started playing it and I was like, oh, this is dope. And I'm like, Rez is like kind of recovering and like you know, he's like good enough to be in the chat, like in the voice call, but he's not necessarily like super active and stuff. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just like stream my favorite game to him. Let me share my favorite game with him, um, so that he can see why I love it so much, and maybe he'll get some enjoyment in just watching me do that, and we can kind of bond, as friends over this or something. I don't know. And so I started, just in our own Discord doing that, and somewhere in this time period, he had started going back to work, and one of those days he was like messaging me in our Discord, um, from his break room about like this idea of like, man, like sometimes I look at these like Twitch streamers and content creators. I'm like, oh man, I wish I could just do some of that stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, man, I feel I've been feeling that way for years. I feel like this is just something I really should have just like thrown myself at like years and years and years ago. And I just haven't, and I don't know why. And so we were just like talking back and forth, and then just like something happened to me that day that never happened before, and that was this attitude of fuck it. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna figure this out. And I like, looked up how to do, kind of set up some of your basic stuff with like streaming and stuff. I downloaded an encoder that I still use actually. And we'll just, try to figure out some basic shit with it. Um, because I wasn't looking for anything too complicated. Because the idea was, is like, because part of why I was like, man, maybe I should just do streaming is because like maybe I should just I'm spending a lot of my time, playing these games anyways because like I don't really have anything better to do with my life, or I mean I do, but I'm not, But I'm like but my mindset was like I'm going to be doing this shit anyways. Why not stream it? So finally, I had this fuck it moment, and I did. And so I got all this shit set up, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna stream. And so like the initial stream was just like, okay, well let's first make sure like the stuff even works, and like we found out it did, and I was like, okay. And well, after about like 10 minutes of like talking to Rez about it, just making sure the whole thing worked and that like and all that stuff, and I was like, well, I guess I could just start playing Twilight Princess. And so like my very first stream, like if you go back to my YouTube channel and you go to the oldest video, when you're gonna have to there's a maybe I'll get to that later, but like that the very first one is, well actually the very first video you see, probably I think it's called My Awkward Start. So it doesn't, and I don't think it even has Twilight Princess in it, because when I first set up the YouTube, like in connection to Twitch, I didn't quite understand how to export to YouTube, and like I didn't quite understand how YouTube verification worked. So I had to cut the videos into like 15 minutes or less. So I also had to like find like a fucking um, some kind of video editor to like at least cut the stuff up. Um, and so I think the first video is like a 10-minute episode called My Awkward Start, and then it's like 15-minute segments of the rest of the stream, which is me playing Twilight Princess. And it's kind of funny to think about because it's like I'm at like I remember doing the Snow Peak Ruins um Twilight Princess anniversary stream, maybe, because I do need to figure out what I want to do for the anniversary, because so this day was February 19th is when I had that fuck it moment. um so maybe I do something in Twilight Princess for that. We'll get to that later in the stream. I'll definitely be talking about just what I want to do in the future. Um, but that's something I've thought about. I mean, maybe I could do that. I'm not sure. Because I have a lot of other Zelda games that I want to go through, and then it might not work out. We'll get there when we get there. Um, but I was like in the Snow Peak Ruins, which is like, what is it? The fifth dungeon in the game out of like 9. So I'm like halfway through the game. Like my first stream, I'm halfway through the game. That's fucking weird, right? But like, because the whole attitude was kind of a bit of a fuck it attitude and a hey, I'm gonna be doing this shit anyways, might as well. So that's kind of the approach I had, and one I still have to some extent. Or at least try to have, or something. And so, I did the dungeon, maybe did a couple other things. Like, I think I, went and got some heart pieces out in the world and stuff. Um, and then, like, you know, after about like maybe 4.5 hours of streaming, I was like, I kind of felt like in the game, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of at a decent stopping point and stuff. And then I was like, kind of talking about how I'm like kind of ready to end. And I'm like, yeah, so that was first stream, and nothing happened. And then like about the time I'm like thinking like to end, someone types in the chat, and then they hit or I think they hit the follow button, and then they started typing in chat, and I was like, whoa, I got a follower. Very first stream, I got a follower, and I was like, what the fuck? And so I was kind of like in awe of that. So like maybe 5 minutes after that, I had ended off the stream, and then I started thinking, wait a minute, could this actually go somewhere? Because who the hell gets a follower on their very first stream? That is like way more successful than like I would ever anticipate. And I was like, okay, well, let's do it again tomorrow. And then so I think the next stream was me doing Twilight Princess again, and then also I think Rez joined me for some Deep Rock Galactic. And then before you know it, like I'm like doing my stuff, and after like a week or so, he started his own streaming channel, and it's kind of wild to think about. And I think it might be one of the most positive things like he and I have ever done. I mean, I guess that's yet to really be seen, because like neither one of us has gotten paid by Twitch yet. Though he says he's pretty close to his first Twitch payout, like $10 away from that. So maybe he'll actually get something from them soon, but I'm certainly nowhere near that, because he just has a bigger following. Though interestingly enough, despite him having like twice as many, or I think more than twice as many followers as I do, on Twitch, that is, I managed to hit affiliate before he did by about 2 weeks, which is kind of interesting, because it's like that's not too different from like the time span of like when the differences between like when I started streaming and when he started streaming. So it's like maybe for both of us it was just literally a matter of time, and I hit that first because I started first. I don't know. It could also be that you guys are maybe a little bit more loyal than his viewers, which I think is actually the case. Um, Not that he has unloyal viewers or something. In fact, Yang is a mutual viewer for sure, and we have plenty of mutual viewers, especially since as we started in July, we started Together Tuesday, which was, by the way, Together Tuesday started out as a shower thought, because so like Rez and I had included Rez in so many of my streams for like the first few months, because like he's my best friend and we like playing games together, and we had recently started playing Deep Rock Galactic together, so we were just playing a lot of that together. We were like leveling up our characters and shit. Um, and we're still playing it on stream together, actually. That's like also wild to think about how Deep Rock Galactic's been there the entire fucking time. Um, but like he had a shift in his work schedule in like June or something that made him appear less, or be less available. But I knew that Tuesday was one of the days in which he was going to be more available. So going into July, and I think there was like a shift that was happening in July where that would be the case. So going into July, I remember taking a shower one day and thinking about like how, like, man, I would really like to just like have more consistent collab content with him, because like I really like him. He's my best friend, and I think, and he's definitely talked about how he likes streaming with me because it's a lot easier for him. He likes it when he has someone that he can bounce off of, and I feel that too. Like I am, I do think I'm maybe a little bit more capable of just like going on these rants by myself, like I'm doing today. Um, but it definitely helps when there's just someone else there to just like bounce your thoughts off of. Um, and plus, we just love playing games together. So I'm like, okay. So I'm just like sitting there in the shower, kind of thinking about that, and I'm like, well, Tuesday's one of the days off. Maybe that could be the day that we do something, and like, yeah, we could make a whole thing out of it. We could call it like Together Tuesday. And I was like, huh, what? That's a shower thought. And I kind of, but I was like, okay, that's a shower thought. Let me at least sleep on it or whatever. But then like I just throughout the next week, it was just growing on me and growing on me, and I was like, I need to tell him about that. And so I told Rez about that, and and he was like, yeah, that's actually pretty good. And I'm like, okay. And soon enough, we had made a logo, and that's the thing that's on my like I could literally put up the Together Tuesday banner right the fuck now if I wanted to. Like, though I don't think the capture is on my monitor, but whatever. But like, boom, there's Together Tuesday. Wow, so special. Oh no, Attack of the Ads. Oh no, you missed the story of the shower thought of Together Tuesday, I guess. Probably. I don't know. Um, but yeah. Oh, and you haven't found Rez's channel. Okay. So, man, I need to get fucking shout out commands. I'm very bad for not doing that. But here's something I can do. I can just link his channel. Let's see. I think I waddled in here during Majora's Mask. I think I actually remember specifically. It's so here's another thing that's really weird about streaming for me. I am terrible with names, like in general. Like there are some people that I've like interacted with, or that I might have interacted with for like years even, or like maybe they knew me when I was a kid or something, and I just like don't know their name. I might know their face, but I just name just escapes me or whatever. And but then like for whatever fucking reason, names of people who come by and just like comment and like talk with me in Twitch streams, they stick around way better. Like to the point where like remember making note about like how someone would like you know talk with me in chat in one stream, and then they'd come back like 3 weeks later and then like say hi again, and I'm like, hey, I remember you from this specific thing. So so with you, Caffeinated Elk, I think I remember exactly when you showed up. Like, I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure I recall you coming in when I was fighting Ganon in Ocarina of Time. I'm pretty sure that's when I remember you coming in. Which, to be fair, would have been like the stream right before um, Majora's Mask. So, yeah, to be fair, Caffeinated Elk I think is a little bit more of a memorable name, but I even remember this happening with like some other names that were a little bit like less memorable. But to be fair, yeah, Caffeinated Elk is actually pretty a pretty memorable name. Uh, but still, like the principle still holds that like I, for whatever reason, my memory of people was, or like remembering that someone was there was before was just like much stronger. Um, but I think I remember you coming in the Ganon fight, and and I remember because like I was like struggling because I'm stupid, and I was like using like the big Goron sword instead of the Master Sword when like because I'm like, oh well, the big Goron sword does more damage than the Master Sword, so I should kill Ganon with that. But it's like you actually need to use the Master Sword because he doesn't take damage unless it's from the Master Sword at that point in the fight. And I was too stupid to realize it, and I would like almost fucking like game over because I like lost so many hearts, and I think I was like starting to pop fairies and shit. and then like it finally fucking occurred to me that like, wait, maybe I actually need to use like the legendary sword of Evil's Bane. And so I did, and then sure enough, like the fight was over like within like the next minute. um, maybe that wasn't you. Maybe that was like DZ or something. But like, because I know that's also someone that showed up in some of the Zelda streams. Um, but I'm pretty sure that was you. If I'm wrong, that's fine. Maybe you showed up somewhere else. Um, but yeah, so you've definitely been the longest consistent viewer. I think maybe before you, I would have said like my most consistent viewer that wasn't someone I already knew would have been like this guy. Kind of, he had a bit of a weird name, but it was like I kind of it became easier to call him Blatt, but I think it was like Blatt the Gig or something like that. And he was or they were someone that would like showed up during Deep Rock Galactic streams. And early on when I was doing Deep Rock Galactic, especially when I was doing solo Deep Rock Galactic, I would go on these like long political rants about shit. Um, and like they were like they seemed to really like that. Um, and like they were able to like go deeper and harder on that stuff than I was, because like, I'm like interested in politics as like a hobby to an extent, but I'm not like deeply mired in it. Like my Twitter is like pretty politically oriented, but it's not like um but it's not like I'm submerged in like political theory or anything like that. In fact, I've had plenty of rants on this channel about how I think, particularly leftists, though just any type of political nerd, um, gets a little bit too obsessed with political theory rather than just like talking straight about shit and just like getting to the point about things. So, but I don't know. And yeah, and more recently, uh, I think I think he came in during like the Battlefleet Gothic Together Tuesday playthrough with ResDog, but Lumeris has become a more consistent viewer. So consistent viewers are the people that are really really awesome. Because it kind of, I'm not even sure if I could properly express like how big a deal it is, but it's like the fact that you guys are so willing to exist and like come by and say hi and chat for a while makes these streams totally worth it. Um, so, um, and this also helped the streams be like a pretty positive aspect of my life in 2021, because while there's a lot of other things too that I like on paper I should be very happy about with 2021, I kind of don't feel happy about 2021. Like when I think about like how I feel like emotionally and mentally about everything, like sure, I'm no longer like worried, like I'm not in the state of like, oh god, my best friend might die. That's not happening anymore. But I don't feel great about like things and stuff. Um and I'm sure like, if you watched enough of my streams, you could kind of read between the lines and see that like I'm not a very happy person. um or maybe the streams actually put me in a good enough mood for the most part that actually you don't see that. I don't know. Um, but like, there's a lot of things in my life outside of this that like I sometimes I question whether or not 2021 is really better than 2020, because like everyone agrees 2020 was shit, right? But then I think back to some of the things that were going on in 2020 in my own personal life as well, and I'm like, well, shit, maybe 20. I think actually, yeah, 2020 was worse. Like I remember, oh god, this one fucking sucks. So like in like June of 2020, I hadn't seen my girlfriend for months, because of the pandemic. But we'd finally like decided to go see each other. But like, for whatever reason, like we weren't being as communicative towards each other, and she was getting kind of distant from me, and that really scared the shit out of me. And I remember on the drive over there, I was like, oh no, like I am worried that like I'm basically driving over there to have, and then that she's gonna break up with me. Spoiler alert, she didn't. Yeah, but I remember kind of dreading like getting ready, and like I kind of took my time getting ready. Um, but then like once I finally started making my way towards the door, I'm like, okay, fine, let's just go. And like I opened the door, and like my cat was like coming through and like trying to like sneak out and stuff, and I was like, and like, and I was like, no, no, you'll, and like, you stay inside, like I'll be back to pet you. And so then I walked out to the car, drove to her place, and we talked things out. Um, and and thankfully, like me and my girlfriend got things better and stuff. But like we did end up talking about some pretty heavy shit. Um, so it wasn't so like while it was like breathe a sigh of relief in the sense that like the relationship wasn't ending, but like it wasn't exactly happy feelings the whole time. And I won't get into it, but it was just there's a lot of stuff to be talked about. Um, but it was, I think, important for us to talk about a lot of that stuff. Um, but anyways, I eventually left her place, came back here, um, and at some point I had realized like it was a bit odd that my cat hadn't come to say hi or cuddle up with me, and I maybe assumed, and I assumed like, well, maybe my cat's just cuddled up with like my brother or something. But by the time he woke up, like I still saw like no evidence of her around, and I asked him like, "Hey, have you seen our cat?" Because we would sometimes like we would keep our back door open to let her wander around in the backyard and stuff. And sometimes she would hop up the fence and like explore the alleyways and stuff. But we usually wanted her back in before dark. Um, Sometimes we weren't that great about that, and but like she would usually come back on her own anyways and stuff because she knows where home is. Um, but that particular time, she never came back, and that really sucked. And it was one of the. It was a very strange feeling because like I had experienced a cat death before, um, like like a couple years earlier. We had another cat that had a clot, and it had to be put down as a result of that. So I remember that, and that was devastating. I remember mourning that for like a week straight, and like I had like no appetite. Like basically, what I was eating was like a handful of raspberries and like two crackers, and that was like all I could like eat. And I would I would play like Star Wars Battlefront, like the one from 2005, like all day. That was just all. That was my coping mechanism. I just played that nonstop while listening to music, nonstop. Like I would wake up, get some water, go to the bathroom or whatever, and that's what I would do. That was like my coping mechanism for that situation. For the situation of the missing cat, it was like you didn't want like I didn't want to acknowledge the possibility that she was never coming back. But the longer things go on, the more I had to like come to acknowledge that. And so it was like there was never this proper period of mourning. It was it's very surreal. And I remember at the time, like, kind of, I like one of the things I did eventually start doing to kind of cope is like I would play on like my keyboard here, um, and I remember deliberately playing like chords that didn't have the third in it, which is the one that makes it a major or minor chord. So like these were chords that were neither major nor minor, because I wasn't giving the context that would decide whether or not it would be major or minor. So these were what I would call hollow chords, because I wanted to play this because it felt empty, and that was kind of like the coping mechanism that I guess I kind of created at that point. Um, and maybe that's something I could eventually return to if I ever actually do music composition again. Um, but yeah, no, 2020 I think is still worse than 2021. But there's some aspect of like 2021 still fucking sucks. Um, hopefully 2022 will be better. To maybe start talking more optimistically. Um, like things are probably going to be a bit hectic for the next month or so. Um, because my fiance and I will hopefully be married within the next month. But that could make like my streaming schedule um, a little bit more awkward or like difficult to like do. Like it's possible that like maybe there might be some weeks where all I do is Together Tuesday because that's just like the only thing I could bother with, or maybe that doesn't even happen. I don't know. So I guess in the coming month or maybe 2 months, I don't even know. Try to bear in mind that things might just end up being a bit more hectic than usual in terms of scheduling and planning and stuff like that. Um, but I do want to once I start to figure things out though, I do want to expand what I'm doing with streaming. I do want to add more streams to my schedule. Like for example, I would love to be able to do more RTS games because during the summer I played through Warcraft 3 Reforged, and then I did some Dawn of War, and I kind of did this as like an RT, because I wanted to do some RTS games that I have because I really like them. Um, and so I'd like to maybe get back to some of that stuff, whether it be Dawn of War or maybe something like StarCraft. Um, but like I'm sure if you've listened to enough streams, you've probably heard me talk about this a little bit. But it's like it's been hard to kind of just like add a day and like be confident that I could do it. Just in terms of like time and mostly energy, to be honest. Because like I said, I'm kind of like a low energy type person, um, and I'm prone to like bouts of anxiety or depression, and that does make it, um, or maybe I'm more inclined to. Who cares the wording on that? It doesn't matter. Point is, like, sometimes I get in these lethargic moods or these panicky moods, and that can make it harder to just do a stream. Like Rez doesn't have any of those mental issues at all. Like, he's like solid when it comes to that. That's why he's able to do like an insane amount of streaming every fucking week. Like, that fucker goes to work and then also streams. Like, I don't do that. Like, I guess I did technically work today. I didn't have too many appointments today though, so like I wasn't too worried about it. I only had like 4 appointments. That's not too much, even though they were also harder appointments today, but whatever. Um, but like, it's insane how much he does, like, what, 5 days a week for 5 hours. Like, that's kind of what I was doing like early on when I was streaming. Like, I would do like 5 ish, maybe. I think actually early on, I think I was doing like 5.5 hours. It was kind of like a weird amount of time. Um, and then like, but I think I eventually settled on a schedule. Um, sometime in like April or something, that was like 4 days a week. It was like a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, for 5 hours each. And at that time, I was just doing Zelda too. Because I think I was in the middle of Majora's Mask, and then I added Warcraft 3 somewhere in there, so it was like Monday and Thursday were Zelda, and then like Tuesday and Friday were Warcraft 3. Then eventually we started doing Together Tuesday, so it was like Monday Zelda, Together Tuesday, Thursday Zelda, and then I had RTS Friday. Oh yeah, and then I like realized that like the Thursday Zelda slot was just like underperforming, especially compared to the Monday Zelda slot. So I was like, okay, maybe Thursday should be something else. But then shortly after that, I got the job that I currently have, and I have not been able to maintain the Thursday and Friday schedule, like streams, like at all. And that is like on me. I'm not trying to blame anyone else or anything like that. Like, I kind of feel bad for the people who watched that first like stream of me doing Half-Life 2, and then I never did another part. Must feel a bit awkward if you were like, wow, this guy seems interesting, and like, I like the way they play like Half-Life 2, and I look forward to more Half-Life 2 streams, and then another one never fucking happened. Maybe that's something I'll do when I add more streams back in, is maybe I'll actually, at this point, do I continue where I left off, or do I completely restart? Because it's been like 4 months now. And by the time I like really add more streams back in, it'll probably be like 6 months. But then I also have like, because like, it's like it's December, so like the Steam Winter Sale's been going on, and that ends on the 5th. It's like I like wrote down like a list of a bunch of games that I'm like kind of interested in, and they're all on sale. And so I might buy a fair amount of games in this in this uh, in the Steam Winter Sale here. So I'm like, well, shit. If I add if I add like an additional streaming day, maybe that streaming day should actually be dedicated to, here's a bunch of games I bought myself for Christmas. Let's stream them or some shit. I don't know. And of course, at some point, it's gonna be February 19th. What day does February 19th fall on? Let's see. Let's scroll down. February 19th. That's a Saturday. Okay. All right. I have no idea how that will work. because I don't know where I will be in terms of my life at that point. Okay, but I feel like I need to have something special for the 1 year anniversary. I just don't know what. And maybe I could do like a hey, let's actually start a full playthrough of Twilight Princess if that works out. Though I don't know if that will, because like this Monday, I'm thinking I'm gonna finish off um, Link's Awakening, because basically I think all we have to do all we have left is like the trading quest and the actual like egg of the windfish, right? And so I think we do that and we beat the game, and then I'll probably talk about my thoughts on the game and stuff. But um, so like that means I have to think about what Zelda game do I want to do next. And since I'm doing Zelda games just basically on a weekly basis right now, at least because like at least since I started doing, I think at least since I started doing Link to the Past. I think that's maybe when I made the switch from twice a week to once a week. Um, which I initially made that shift not really because um, it's not because I wanted to do less Zelda, but it's because I wanted to do more other stuff. Um, but it's been in the past few months. It's been one of the things I can maintain, especially since it's been like, I mean, one, it's been a staple of the channel like forever. Literally, since I started this channel, Zelda's been a consistent form of content, which is I'm totally fine with because I'm enjoying the Zelda games. It's probably my favorite game series, and the more I play, the more I'm convinced that like, yeah, this is just a ridiculously good series of games. Like they're not all perfect. Like, well, none of them are perfect, but like you know, even the ones because like Link to the Past and Link's Awakening, they're like from like 92, 93. You'd think that they would be like maybe not great or maybe not even good anymore because like they're old ass games tend to fucking suck because people didn't know what game design was, and like there's definitely some like shit in those games where it's like, yeah, this is like 90s game design kicking in and they just expect you to understand a thing that makes no fucking sense. But then there's a bunch of other things where it's like, no, there's a clear game design philosophy happening behind like the design of their dungeons and stuff like that. So it's actually like been really fun to play those games. Um, and I know when I was finishing up Link's Awakening, Link to the Past, I was kind of talking about doing the Oracle games, and then Elk mentioned that I should do Link's Awakening, which very good idea, because holy shit, I'm actually loving Link's Awakening. It does kind of suck that the emulator and the encoder don't entirely agree. Like sometimes the encoder just freezes for like 10 seconds, which is kind of weird. I still don't understand why that's the case, but I don't care enough to investigate it because it fixes itself anyways. But it does leave me kind of wondering about like as I get into like more obscure Zelda games, am I gonna run into more problems to the extent where like I don't really know that I could just do them? Um, so I'm not sure if the Oracle games are really more obscure than Link's Awakening. They're probably about equally obscure, and obscure in quotation marks. They're not. Pretty much none of the Zelda games are obscure because they're fucking Zelda games. Um, though to be fair, the more famous Zelda games are going to attract more attention for sure. Like if you're playing Ocarina of Time or Wind Waker or Breath of the Wild, your audience is much more likely to you're much more likely to get noticed than if you're doing Link's Awakening. Because, who's going to browse specifically for Link's Awakening? Not a lot of people, to be honest. There might be some people, and I mean, cool, but most people are probably going to search for Ocarina of Time or Breath of the Wild or some shit, which is fine. That's just like what they want. Um, Anyways, what's the point of me talking about all this Zelda shit? Um, oh, because yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be doing next. um, but I'll have to look to see if I could, like, what emulators, um, like the Oracle games can work on, if I have an emulator already or not, um, and if I can get them working and stuff like that. And you know, that's all shit I have to try to figure out. Well, probably next week because that has to happen at some point. Um, and then so so the reason why that leaves me unsure about like Twilight Princess on the 1 year anniversary is, what if I'm still in the middle of like Oracle of Ages or whatever? Like, it wouldn't exactly be the best timing to just like start an entirely new Zelda playthrough if I'm already in the middle of another one. Um, or maybe at that point, in when we get to February 19th, I'm at the point where I'm like, fuck it, I could add another stream, and fuck it, we can make it another Zelda stream. So I don't know. I'm kind of. It's really hard to plan ahead. Um, a lot of I feel like I don't know is a sentence or, or phrase or whatever that I just end up saying to too many things in my life right now. But like, quite frankly, I don't know. you know, it's like I can't know things so far ahead of time. I feel like I could barely plan like even like a couple days ahead of time. Like this stream that I was kind of mentioned as like a thought that I had early on this week, in those like the at the tail end of like the Zelda slash Deep Rock Galactic stream. And I don't even know if I did I mention it in the Together Tuesday, or I must have. It would have been stupid for me to not, but maybe I am stupid sometimes, especially if I'm hanging out with Rez. Um, but but it was like something I like kind of casually tweeted out early at like on a Monday or Tuesday, and then I got fucking sick. So it was just like, I don't even know if this stream's happening. And especially since this stream is going to be a just chatting stream, I'm like, well, I kind of want people to show up. So I kind of, if I'm even thinking about it, I should probably mention it, which is why I did. Um, and I appreciate you guys for showing up. By the way, that actually does mean a lot, because there's at least some people listening to me just ramble about shit. Um, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I guess just to broadly summarize, I don't know what I want to do on the for the 1 year anniversary. Um, I'm open to ideas and suggestions. So yeah, feel free to lurk. I'm just kind of ranting here. And like, man, I don't know how much you could hear in my voice. I've, but like, one of my nostrils has gotten like a kind of clogged, so I feel like my voice has gotten a lot more like yeah. So it's like Like it feels just a little bit more nasally and like ew than usual. Like I feel fine, really, um, but like I've just become aware of that. Like, oh yeah, this half of my nose is not working as well as we ever have, and it feels weird. I don't know how much it comes out through my voice. Anyways, what are some of the other talking points I had for myself? Um, um, oh, okay. So here's something. Okay, so I know here's something for the future, and I know I mentioned that I'm very bad at plans, and that I'm also kind of bad at following up on things that I say I want to do. So feel free to take this with a grain of salt and shit. That would be healthy. Bring a salt shaker with you when I'm talking about this. It's but but this is something I've been thinking about for like months, and it's something I have mentioned to Rez on at least a couple occasions. But sometime in the new year, preferably sooner rather than later. But like we'll see. But sometime in the new year, hopefully soon, I want to make a Discord server with Rez, like a joint community server for both of our communities. Since like I basically don't see a world as long as both of us are streaming, I don't see a world in which we're not including each other in what we're doing. Like, yeah, we're gonna do our own shit, but like we've known each other for half our lives. We're best friends. We loved existing with each other. I think it's impossible for us to not want to do stuff together all the time. And also because we've been doing some, stuff like Together Tuesday, it's like, well, of course, a lot of our community is probably going to be, in both of our chats anyways. So, like, it might not be a bad idea to have a place for both of those guys to go anyways. Um, so, like, and I don't know what we would call it. Like, I don't know if it'd be like the Sin and Res server or something like that. But like, the idea would be that's like, hey, it's a Discord server where you go if you're a fan of me or if you're a fan of Res Dog, um, and you want to interact with other people, and interact with us too. Um, in fact, I think it would make it much easier to do any kind of like community collabs or something like that. Like for example, Yang, we've done um, collabs. We've technically done a couple. Like we did two Vermintide streams with. Um, it was what me, you, Rez, and Emmy. Um, so like stuff like that might be easier to facilitate if we had our own Discord server. So like for example, if Caffeinated Elk ever becomes interested in joining us in like Deep Rock Galactic, like well if we have this Discord server already set up and she's a part of it, well that just kind of makes it easier to just say yeah, let's do it. um, it kind of depends. Emmy and I are a package deal. Well, I guess Rez and I are a package deal, so it works out. Um, or maybe I should, or maybe it's yeah, no, yeah, that's kind of what it is. And yeah, doing that Vermintide collab with you guys, by the way, was a lot of fun. Totally down to do that again, um, provided schedules can work out, and which they might not for in the next month or so. Like I said, you know, but you have my you can this you have the ability to interact directly with me. So, but yeah. So I don't know how this server would be set up. Like I've kind of thought about it. It's like having like a section where it's like this is like the SynDef community section and this is like the ResDog community section because like we're ultimately going to be pulling from different type. We're gonna have different types of people in different categories and stuff. Um, and we talk about different things. We care about different things. Like for example, like Res Dog likes to talk about like guns and shit. I don't give a fuck about that stuff. I'm not a gun nerd. He is. So like, but there might be a I would find it reasonable that there might be like a, let's say there's like a text chat where people want to put in their like memes about guns or something like that, or just talk about cool gun facts or something like that would be great for his type of audience. And maybe on my end, maybe we want to talk about he's not he doesn't like to talk about politics as much, but I'm a lot more open to that. So like, what if I had like a political discussion chat, which would probably need to be carefully moderated given how people can be, or maybe not, because you guys would be fantastic and beautiful people. I would prefer the latter. um, the less moderation I have to do on people, the better. Um, I need to make sure I'm drinking more of this water. Mm. And then, but yeah, so I'm not exactly sure how, this Discord server that doesn't even exist yet. I'm not sure how that will all be set up and stuff, but it's something I've honestly been thinking about it since at least September. So, and Resdog is aware that I've been thinking about it. Um, he seemed a little bit more apprehensive, not because he doesn't like the idea of having like a joint community or a place for our people to go and just kind of hang out, but he seemed a little bit more concerned that we weren't quite big enough to like actually have like a community. But that's kind of part of why I said like, well, maybe that's why we should do it together, because like maybe solo we don't have big enough communities, but together we might. Um, I don't know if he was really all that convinced by that, but neither one of us are exactly in a rush to figure all that stuff out. But I just want to at least bring it up since like I'm here to talk about like thoughts on this year and the next year. Um, so yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think. I think I have a bag of some ibuprofen over here. Hold on. I should probably take that. I forgot to take ibuprofen before stream. Or did I take it? No, here it is. All right. All right. I can kind of feel my voice going a little bit more than I expected it to. Maybe it's the fact that I didn't take ibuprofen. Good thing I have some on hand. All right. What's some other stuff I could talk about? Um, well, something I kind of want to do. Just as like some like gay sentimental shit. I kind of want to make like a tweet thread where I kind of just say, "Hey, thanks for a Happy New Year. Thanks for the support for for my Twitch channel and stuff like that." And then like link a bunch of people who I've met through Twitch and want to kind of give them direct thanks for. Um, so like, that could be people like, and maybe say like some kind of, maybe like link their Twitch and then like say something kind of like unique and nice and personal to them. So like, God, who would be on this list? So like, Maybe I can even start composing this tweet now. Um, so like, maybe it could be like, Happy New Year, everyone. I want to especially thank all the wonderful people I've met through Twitch. And stuff. I don't know. And so like, I don't know. So I'm just like trying to think. It's like, so, I could mention. Here, let me pull up another Twitter on my other side here, just so I could start getting their things. But like, someone that comes to mind like immediately for someone who's been like awesome, that I've met through Twitch is God, where is he? Oh, that's right. He changed his name. Or it's yeah. So like maybe someone like Corpse Grinder. Boom. Like I could say like, hey, thanks for raiding me that one time when I was doing Wind Waker. You're a cool dude. Something like that. And then I could maybe Corpse Grinder on Twitch. I think I have him in my recommended down here, so I could just. So then I could like.
People think unusual circumstances.
Oops! Don't need to hear that. Screw you. Okay. And then maybe I could see like. Joe, go check out his Twitch. And I think I just heard a firework, which makes sense given the date. And so I could like do that, and maybe I could do this for like a bunch of people. So like, who else? Like, what about like it's like Toke Shige? Like, thanks for being such a cool and awesome dude. Love your chill and sometimes chaotic streams. You're honestly a huge inspiration for me. You go check out their Twitch. And then I could go back to here. And then I can link his, I could link their Twitch as well, which I'm not muting, or forgot to mute because I'm stupid. And then there. Maybe I should also say here. I want to thank a bunch. I mean, no, I already said this. Yeah, I want to. I'm gonna link their Twitch channels below, so go check them. Yeah, go check them all out. So yeah, and then I don't know who could be next. Oh, I know. I think was it Johnny No, I think it's Johnny with just no H. Yeah, generic British gamer. Thanks for being a cool and a degenerate friend through or in chat with me. Love your chill and comfy vibes just as much as our cursed conversations. And then I could go find his Twitch over here. Generic British gamer. There he is. And then, boom. Who else should I include in this? So, Corpse, Toke, Generic Brit. Oh, I need to include Shuni. Okay, let's include Shuni. Also, it's 2022 now, where I am. So happy New Year, guys. All right. Who was I about to? Oh, Shuni. So yeah, at Shunikos. Thanks for being such a wholesome, but not say so, friend. I'm very glad you are always willing to include me when I'm around. And then let's go link her Twitch. So Shunikos. Who else to include? Who else? Oh, you know what I should do? At Lil Lady Red. I only recently met her, but she's fucking awesome. So, and like I think she's someone that I feel like it's one of the fastest friendships I feel like I've made, and hopefully it's one that actually lasts too, because she's great. So I only recently met you, but you're fucking awesome, and I hope we can. How do I phrase this? I hope we can have a long and memey friendship together. And then let's go link her Twitch. Also, I realize I'm not like saying go check them out for these things. So, check out the Brits Twitch. Go check out the Neko's Twitch. And then, what did I say for Red? Go check out the Flower Friends Twitch. Okay. And then look, so Lil Lady Red. There she be. Okay, who else should I include? Corpse, Tokay, Generic Brit, Shuni, Red. I feel like I've got to be just completely spacing out on some people. Um, let's see. Well, so many people. So that's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Oh! I know. Gray Cat. Gray Cat. So I'm forgetting. So at Gray Cat Cafe. Um, you're such a cool cat. I'm always happy to raid you after my Zelda slash deep, or let me just say DRG streams. Maybe someday we'll get to play together or just vibe or something. Either way, you're fantastic. And then go check out her Twitch, or maybe I should say go check out her cafe, because it's like a because her whole thing is that it's like a cafe. So Gray, now I need to find her thing. Gray Cat Cafe. All right, there we go. Okay. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's all we do. Corpse, Tokay, Generic Brit, Shuni, Red, Gray Cat. Is there someone else I could be sending the love to that really deserves it? That might be it. Oh, well, I guess there is the obvious one. Like he knows it, but it'd be nice to include him. Last but certainly not least, thank you, Res Dog, for being such a good friend for so long. I look forward to a lifetime, to a lifetime of continued friendship and memory together. And we'll link his Twitch. All right. So let's see. Happy New Year, everyone. I want to especially thank all the wonderful people I've met through Twitch and stuff. I'm going to link their Twitch channels below, so go check them all out. Let's see. Here, let me add enough. May 2022 bring less suck than uh, 2020 and 2021. Is it better to have the exclamation point there, or is it like easier to read if it's not there? Because I feel like the one followed by an exclamation point like looks weird. Maybe I should just leave it as this. Let's go with that. Anyway, so and then let's see what I say for corpse stuff. Thanks for rating me that one time when I was doing Moonmaker. You're a cool dude. Check out his Twitch. Toke, thanks for being such a cool and awesome dude. Love your chill and sometimes chaotic streams. You're honestly a huge inspiration for me. He really is. In fact, Toke, they did a stream earlier today. Like that was kind of their like end of the year stream, and that was a really nice stream. In fact, I was feeling upset a lot of today, and like I was kind of like up and down and stuff. But like I had like an hour and a half before I started this stream, I like kind of made myself panic about something. Um, but I saw that they had started streaming, and so I like went into their stream and like, dude, Toki can bring like such nice and wholesome and like comfy vibes and stuff. It's very nice, and I really like interacting with them, and he's made me feel very welcome in a space that I never really thought I would be, because like look, you may have noticed a lot of these people are VTubers. In fact, I think literally only one of these people isn't a VTuber, and that would be Generic Brit. But I think literally everyone else I'm linking here is a VTuber. I'm not a VTuber, and I never planned on being a VTuber, and I still don't plan on being a VTuber because I just don't think it's my thing. Even though like it honestly probably would help me to have like this like persona that people could like easily attach to and like associate me with and stuff, and because it's just easier for branding, to be honest, because like I don't know what I'm gonna do for branding. Like for example, like emotes. What do I do for that? I don't like. It's just like the extent to which I have branding is like, well, there's my face, like with like laser eyes and shit. But like, is that really a brand? I don't know. But I'm not exactly a branding person. But yeah, but anyways, I forgot where I lost the plot and what I was talking about. But like, anyways, Toke's great. And then so then Generic Brit, what I say about him? Thanks for being such a cool and degenerate friend in chat with me. Love your chill and comfy vibes just as much as our cursed conversations. Yeah, good shit. Okay, Shunikos, thanks for being such a wholesome but not say so friend. Or maybe I should say not as say so as you claim or as you think. Yeah. Just a little bit of a tease at her. Very glad you are always willing to include me when I'm around. Red, I only recently met you, but you're fucking awesome, and I hope you can have a long and Mimi friendship together. Yep. So you're such a cool cat. I'm always happy to raid you after Zelda/DRG streams. Maybe someday we'll actually get to play together or just vibe or something. Either way, you're fantastic. And then at last, but certainly not least, thank you, ResDog, for being such a good friend for so long. I look forward to a lifetime of continued friendship and memory together. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this tweet. I'm going to go ahead and put this out. Tweet all. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, those people are great, and I want to just give them some love. Like, they don't really need like the signal boost from me. They're all doing better than me in terms of Twitch. Though, I guess to be fair, I actually have a solid amount of Twitter followers. You know, though I'm not sure if the Twitter followers really fucking mean anything because most of them don't interact anyways. Like, because what you do on Twitter is you kind of scroll through the feed, right? You don't really interact with people as much. Whereas if you're going on Twitch, like you're probably sticking around where whatever channel you choose to follow. At least you're probably sticking around more than a few seconds, right? So, anyways, I'll go ahead and put this back over here. Yeah. Let's see, is there anything else I want to talk about before we? I don't have to. I was kind of thinking of maybe going to like 1 a.m., but I don't have to. Um. Hmm. I don't know. How are things going with you guys, chat? Where I live, we're about 15 minutes into the new year, so how does that feel for you guys, wherever you guys live? You all right? All right. Sometimes it's just good enough to be all right. It's 2 a.m. for you. Yeah, that would make sense. You live in Florida. That's 2 hours ahead of me. Just after 11 p.m. for you. Yeah. So you said you're in Washington, right? So that also checks out. Um. Hmm. See, is there anything else I had in this list that I actually want to talk about or have the time to talk about? Um. I guess I kind of talked about what kind of games I want to do. Oh, you know what might be fun? Let me pause music here. You know what might be fun? What if we watched? What if we watched 54 Shades of Chicken together? Well, like, 'cause this is a video that I made. Well, yeah, yeah. It's like this was edited together from a stream I did back in like March when I was playing Ocarina of Time, and it's a video about some struggles that I had with some chickens in that game, and I called it 54 Shades of Chicken. Does this sound like something you guys might want to watch? Because this could be fun. It's a little part of the I don't know, I guess sin death history here. But it's basically like my first editing project like ever. So or like first like real like thing I ever made. And I've only made like videos I actually like edited together and stuff. It was like this one, and then like I did one for ResDog on his channel, and that one was actually much more ambitious. That was like half an hour long because he did it because that was his very first Nekoparo collab, and it had like a lot of people, including um, some of the people that I just included in that shout out tweet I did because it had it had Sugonet, it had um, Tokeshige, it had Snake, it had Um, Shunikos was there, of course. Oh, and Crimson was there. Yeah, because that's right. Because Crimson really stood out for me for being fucking funny. Um, Actually, most of those people were really fucking funny in that. It was great. Um, but that was like a half-hour long video because it was just like there were so many bits that I just wanted to include because they were fucking funny. Whereas this one is it's just me and my own shenanigans. So, well, let's go ahead and watch it together. Well, I got some beans. Hmm. Okay, I guess I can't quite make that. Sheep. I guess that's why there's the chicken. Oh, I just remembered something that happens here. I reckon I could make. Hmm. Let me place it down. Forbidden. Just look around. So that yeet sound effect, by the way, was my girlfriend's idea. Because when I was showing her the works in progress as I was working on this, probably needed to be up there, right? She said that there was something funny about the way in which I casually just like threw that chicken away. That she said that I should have a yeet sound effect there, which was a very smart idea from her. God, it's been. God, this was in March, but I still very intensely remember the struggle. These chickens were really such a pain. You don't even know yet. We're like a minute into the video, and we're talking about I'm like messing around with frogs, but memories are flooding in, and it's just like, oh, it was like a. It took a while. I think the whole ordeal took like 20, 30 minutes or so, maybe more. Why is it so hard to pick up a chicken? Oh, it went up there anyways. Okay, cool. That works for me. Oh, there's a path to the side there. Oh, no, it looks like there's a ladder. Okay. Cool. Let's just get the piece of heart. And one of the crazier things to think about with how I was editing is like I tried to edit like word by word, and that was like too much of a pain in the ass. I don't know why I did that. A little bit. What was wrong with me? I can't do it. I think I just hesitated too much. Oh yeah, this moment. Wait, so hold on before the video continues. So the reason why I included the arrow, where is the arrow? God, I need to clear my throat a little bit. Okay, I need to hold down this button a little bit. Okay, so the reason why I included this arrow is because I genuinely had no idea where the chicken went, and I only noticed when I was editing the video that the chicken just basically like, oh, that arrow is kind of off, but it basically just like hovers its way up the wall, and it's like the weirdest shit, right? Like I didn't even like because like at the time I was streaming, I didn't know where it went, and like even like when I watched back the stream or like when I was like when I like was cutting up the pieces that I wanted to include in this video, I still didn't notice until I was specifically adding the edits to this exact moment, and then I noticed, and I was like, "Oh my god!" It just like goes up the cliff because fuck you. So yeah. Anyways, I'll go ahead and replay this. But it was like the weirdest shit, which is why I include the X-Files theme right here. Because like, come on, man, that's so fucking funny. Like what is that shit? There you go. Maybe reset this location, because that would actually be useful for me. Oh, but I couldn't get over there even. Ah, fuck. Where'd it go then? The cack, yeah. Yeah. So, I'm gonna fly off this way. Yeah, I'm sure you can put a lot of keck W's throughout this video. Oh, man. Ugh. Well, that's lame. By the way, so I have the in the corner there. I put sorry about lost footage. Honestly, it was footage that I could have recovered, but it would have been like it just would have taken a long time, and I didn't want to. So it was easy for me to say sorry about lost footage, because like really all you need to know is that like I went ahead and I saw a second heart piece and I knew I needed to get a chicken for that, and I was like, ah, well, god damn it, now I got to go get the chickens. Which, by the way, I'd like to point out this is a 13-minute and 46-second video. We are 4 minutes and 16 seconds into it. Like there's still just more shit. Most of it is left. Going back for a chicken. There's 2 I can get here. I'd rather get them. Also, man, listening to myself back then, I must have been tired on that particular day. My voice just sounds like I'm tired. Like, I don't know how much you guys can pick up on that type of stuff, but I can, like, I've, like, heard myself enough through streams that, like, I kind of know what my tired voice sounds like. Set this area just in case I need to, like, in case that chicken was just, like, somewhere I can't, like, in the void that I can't find. Oh my god, is that owl gonna be there every fucking time?
Probably.
Oh my god. The green text is res, by the way.
You've gotten bigger and stronger already. Nerd!
Yeah, I did choose a pretty good name, didn't I? Oh yeah, and in case you missed it, I named the hero of time Nerd. So anytime someone like addresses my character directly, it's like they're calling him Nerd, which I think was maybe the best decision like ever for the game. Like I love that Nerd was the hero of time. It was great. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Man, chickens are asshole in this game. See, that was me kind of noticing the weirdness, but I still didn't, even at that point in time, I didn't quite realize what had happened. What the hell? Like, I was just mostly confused. What the fuck was that? Let me try again. It just, like, goes all the way up the cliff. Oh, it actually respawns over here. Okay. Okay. Well, cool. I don't have to reset the area, at least. Man, chickens are assholes. spending like 3 in-game days
yeah,
just trying
this
to
bit.
do this.
This is one of my favorite bits that I had.
I mean, it takes 3 in-game days for Link to save Termina, but it takes 3 in-game days for him to deal with this chicken. This chicken is Majora.
When I showed that like chicken equals Majora to like
Hey, Kelvin, can you type
my best
54
friend.
into
Oh yeah,
chat
here's the
for me?
54 thing.
Or
yeah.
like in a DM or something.
5-4?
Mm-hmm. Man, fuck this chicken, dude.
But when I showed him the
Yeah. Just
when I
DM it to me
showed
on
my
Discord,
other
I'll
friend
remember
that
what
like
it
is really
means.
into Zelda and stuff, the chicken equals Majora. He thought that
Thanks,
was
guys, for
hilarious.
Twitch. I guess cool. Now people in Twitch chat are helping with that too.
I love how that's still a trait where I just like still don't know how to word sometimes. It's just a me
Oh,
thing, I
man,
think.
I actually have to reset the area. What a man! Fuck this chicken. Holy shit. Man, if I were doing YouTube, I would like be thinking about like making a YouTube video just about like how evil this chicken is. I don't know, maybe I can't. Oh my god, I forgot what the fucking hell. Maybe birds are the assholes here.
Birds are bastards. They work for the CIA.
All of the birds died in 1986 when Reagan killed them and replaced them with spies that are now watching us today. The birds work for the bourgeoisie.
I love that I'm just able to like quote that from memory.
But, like, yeah, the main thing that's like really screwing me over is that chickens are really awkward to pick, which like they're awkward in like every Zelda game that I've ever played, but like man, I'm really feeling it right now. I am Mr. Krabs, and I am feeling it. You know, I don't think I've ever held a chicken. No, I've held a baby chicken. Actually, no, that was a baby duck. So actually, never mind. I've never held a real life chicken in my life, so I can imagine they're assholes in real life too. But I'm just saying they did a good job of replicating that if that's the case.
I do remember one of my relatives had a turkey that was bullied by the chickens.
I believe it.
Like literally, like almost its entire ass was bare because the chickens kept picking out its feathers.
Ooh. Yeah, those are some real mean chickens.
Yeah, the chickens were assholes. Which is why my relatives served chicken for dinner that day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think you know how you're playing
I remember freaking out as a child and holding a chicken, but like that was as a child.
Okay, let's try doing this with more confidence instead of me like hesitating.
You gotta have confidence.
I like hesitated a little bit and held the back, like the back button. I just need to.
What's the Corona fucking confidence quote? Like, you must have confidence. And then like she like died in a Mario
Now
game
the
or
question
something, and
is,
she was
can I
like,
get this
no
chicken
confidence. Or something
to the
funny
other
like
piece of
I don't know, I'm not a that's something that Rez would know, not me.
How many chickens do you have over there in the Philippines? Because you're still in the Philippines, right? Like that didn't change.
For context, I'm not asking Rez, this is someone in chat. I don't know how clear that is in the video.
I think chickens are kind of everywhere, but I don't know about.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, I know chickens are in the Philippines
I
too,
have,
but like.
7. Oh my god, you have 7 chickens.
Damn. Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Are they egg chickens or are they meat chickens?
A good question.
They're meat chickens. Nice.
You're gonna put that there.
Shit, did I just accidentally make 54 into a meme? I mean, I don't need a chicken for this, do I? That would suck. Okay, thank God.
Imagine if I needed a chicken to get into the domain. Oh my god. Fuck the sign. Anyways. Um... Oh no! Oh shit, that. Oh shit. Oh no! Oh no, when's the last time I saved? Oh no! Oh no! I think I have to do that dungeon again. Oh fuck. I don't think I saved at all during that. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
I loved what I did with the oh no's right there.
Oh fuck, dude. Son of a bitch. Oh no.
I had a lot of fun with that one
Oh god damn it.
in terms of the editing.
Okay, remind me to save more often. Shit. Oh no, I have to do the chickens again.
I fucking love that as a punchline, by the way. And I'm just like, because like, try to think about what's going through my head. I had like just done like a dungeon, like an entire dungeon. I did Jabu Jabu's Belly, so like, it's a whole ordeal to go through that, and like, and all that shit. So like, I like, my mind was just like, okay, I'm thinking about all that stuff, and like, oh no, I have to go redo that. Oh no, I have to also remake my way back to the source domain. Oh man, that's going to be time intensive. And then I realized, oh god, oh no, maybe the worst part of all of that is dealing with the fucking chickens. All 54 shades of it. So yeah. Basically, when that happened, that was like the moment I knew this had to be a video. So, anyways, here's that. I guess you can count that as a director's commentary on 54 Shades of Chicken. I don't fucking know. Hmm. Well, hmm. Anything else I want to talk about? Hmm. Deep dives are brutal. Yes, they are. Your crew just yeah. No, yeah, I remember doing some deep dives with Rez, and they would be somewhere in the YouTube archives because honestly, most of my playtime on Deep Rock Galactic is on stream. Like, so, like maybe a little bit of like when I was first learning the game, but like that would only be like maybe like the first like I don't know 6 hours or something. I think. Like, God, how many hours do I have in Deep Rock? Like, yeah, I have like 136.8 hours in this game. I would guess about 130 of those are on stream. um, Maybe a bit less, but like, yeah. But yeah, deep dives are pretty rough. So it's definitely something you want to do with people that like you can kind of synergize with, or like that you have high confidence in, or whatever. And even then, there's a realistic. You should like realistically expect to kind of get your ass handed to you, but it's a lot of fun. So also something I want to mention or point out. So like I've streamed plenty of this game, Kingdom Classic. Um, in fact, maybe even most of this is also on stream. Most of these 92.4 hours, because I think it's actually a fantastic game for streaming. Especially if you need like an hour and a half like window of time that you just kind of want to fill with something. Kingdom is like this game is like perfect for that, because I at least for my pace, it does take about an hour and a half to casually just go do a run of that game. But I recently bought myself like 2 or 3, I think 3 weeks ago. I bought myself New Lands, and I've not streamed any amount of that. I've just kind of been playing it in my free time. Look at how many hours I have in this game. I have 51.3 hours in this game. That's just me putting it in my free time, which is wild. It's also like kind of interesting, like the way in which Newlands is different from like the base game, because like, and I think the biggest thing that throws me off is the pacing is different. Like I feel like in Kingdom Classic, I have the pacing down like super well, and that's why I can kind of autopilot it and why it works so well for streaming. But with this one, like, there's like different like levels of like, because you go around from different islands and shit, and there's like different like island difficulties and stuff. So like some of them are like kind of like the early ones are like kind of brain dead easy, but then some of the later ones like are actually genuinely a challenge. And like and there's like a skull difficulty that like I went there once and got absolutely slaughtered on the second day. So well, I didn't get absolutely slaughtered. I got a little bit careless, but I didn't anticipate it being so deadly on the second day, and that's what happened. But it's a bit weird. Um, so random thing, have you ever thought about making a Discord for your stream stuff? Oh, I must have been talking about that while you were gone. See, I talked earlier about how I want to make a Discord with ResDog, like a joint server for both our communities, because like we do stuff together all the fucking time, and um, and it would give us, in what, like I don't know, I talked. I feel like I already expended a lot of my thoughts on like shit. What did I actually say earlier in this stream? But like, um, but that was something I mentioned. I was talking about earlier. I want to do that with ResDog sometime in the new year. I can't promise when it'll happen, especially since, quite frankly, I seem more interested in than he is. Not that he's opposed to it. It's just that like, I've brought it up to him a couple times, and he's just seemed a little bit more unsure about it than I have. But I think he's just, and it's a concern that I kind of have to. I think he's concerned about moderating Discord, because because I think that's something that's gonna kind of like inevitably gonna have to happen. It's like at some point we're gonna have to like figure out like, oh, how do we want to actually moderate our server? And like ideally we don't have to moderate shit. Like ideally our communities are so fucking great that we don't have to do anything. We don't have to rein anyone in like ever. But like that is super ideal. um and look, maybe our communities are actually fantastic and stuff, and like we never have to worry about that. And I think if we were just, if I were just to take like you guys like right now, I think we would be fine. But like thinking ahead to the future, like where are we going to be like a year from now, too, or maybe even 6 months? I mean, who knows what can happen, right? um so like we would probably want to have some trusted people that we could help us like take care of some shit if like some shit hits the fan or something. Um, and so I know that's something that I think about sometimes when I'm thinking about a Discord server, and so I'm sure that's like something that would cause even more hesitation in him. But I think it would be a good idea for us to do. Um, so I'm gonna try to actually push him a lot more on that uh, in this upcoming sometime in the upcoming year. I can't really promise when, but preferably like in the coming like maybe like I don't know March or some shit if not earlier. I just can't say for sure, but I've been thinking about it since like September. So, um, but yeah, it's something I kind of want to do. But that's it's just gonna have to be a lot of conversations between me and Rez, and um, we both also have busy lives outside of streaming. So, though I guess he has a little bit more of a handle on his life than I do. Mine is much more. I struggle with mine a lot more than he does with his. Um, and it's not. It might not get easier, to be honest. Uh, well, it might get harder and then get easier. I don't know. It's just one of those things where like big life changes are happening, and then I'm gonna have to adjust to that accordingly. Um, yeah. One of the other cool things though about the sale in which I saw Newland so is that it also came with the OSTs, which is why I was able to have like this music, for example, in the background. Though still be quiet about it because I'm not entirely sure if it's allowed. Just but like I'm kind of like look they're a smaller dev. I feel like they'd be a little bit more happy if someone were featuring it in their streams than not. But that's why I'm also kind of keeping it to a very quiet background level where like I don't think the bots will necessarily notice it. Um, and it's not like when I like archive my streams onto YouTube that it's like, oh, you have the music from the game Kingdom. like, I don't think I've ever gotten any kind of dumb copyright claim on any Kingdom stuff ever. Um, so I'm not terribly worried about it, but I know I'm playing with a little bit more fire than I usually do because usually I'm playing with zero amount of fire on this shit. But we'll just pretend that I'm playing the game anyways. You know, it's fine. Um, yeah. But yeah, Discord. That's something I want to do at some point. I just can't say when. Um, when I eventually do start making like some real tangible steps in that direction, I'll start like I'll. That's probably when I'll bring that up again and say like, hey, I'm making a Discord server. Hey, I have a Discord server. Here's the thing. But realistically, don't expect that anytime soon. But expect it eventually. Anyways, um, hmm, not sure if there's anything else I really want to talk about. Um, I did have some ideas of like things I could do, but I feel like if I was gonna do some of like I thought about maybe like doing like some more Deep Rock Galactic for like the rest of the winter missions. But I feel like at this point it's like I feel like if I was going to do that, I probably should have started that like over an hour ago. Maybe it was just nice to just like have a stream in which we just chat, you know? I don't know if I really have any much more to say. So, unless you guys have something, we might just wrap things up. I don't know. I guess thinking ahead, like, so I have Link's Awakening on Monday. That's going to be the finale, or at least it's very likely to be the finale. If it's not the finale, that's going to shock. Like something weird happened, or I got my ass handed to me and I can't like beat it or something. Um, but expect I expect it to be Link's Awakening to be beaten on Monday. Um, and depending on how much time is left in the stream after that, I'll probably do some Deep Rock Galactic or something else. I don't know. It'll depend. Um, then we'll do it together Tuesday with Res Dog. We'll be probably beating Halo 2 because we got most of the way through it. We got what to Quarantine Zone, so yeah, that's most of the. There's like 5 missions left in Halo 2. So yeah, I think we'll probably do that on Together Tuesday and probably some Firefight because I'm pretty sure we could beat that before. I mean, I guess we'll see, but there'll probably be some extra time and we could do Firefight after that. But yeah, and that's probably all that will happen next week in terms of streaming. Maybe there'll be another bonus stream like this. I don't know. I guess I don't want to like create this expectation that there is going to be bonus streams, but I also maybe want to say like, hey, maybe there could be because it's stuff that I'd like to do, but like my life could be a bit in flux in the coming months. So promising that there's going to be an additional stream when I might not be able to deliver that would be a bad move. So I'm not going to do that. But there is definitely going to be times where I'm like, well, I do have some downtime, and maybe it'd be nice to just kind of talk to chat or do some games or something. So I don't know. Stick around, you know, and you'll notice. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys coming out, saying hi. Oh, hey, we got a first time chat here. Hello. Let's say Tunku Pipit. Is that how that would be pronounced? Tunku Pipit. All right, what's good? What's good? I mean, what's good is hopefully the new year will be good. Because you know 2020 sucked, 2021 also kind of sucked. Though there I guess was more reasons to be optimistic in 2021, and hopefully that optimism will only increase in 2022. It might not. We'll find out. But but hopefully 2022 will be a good year for not just for me, but for all of you guys in chat. Um, so yeah, and I guess anyone watching this on YouTube in the future, hey, tell me how 2022 is, or maybe you're watching this after 2022. Tell me how 2022 was. You know, 2022 pronounced as the way it is kind of sounds like 2022, the sequel. I hope not. Let's hope that it's not the sequel, though it might be. Because quite frankly, if I had to guess, um, the pandemic's probably still going to be the defining thing of 2022, just like it was for 2020 and 2021. But we'll see. But anyways, I'm thinking of wrapping things up here. So, um, thanks to everyone for coming by. And if you liked my ramblings here, go ahead and hit that follow button. If you're watching this later on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It's basically the same button because it's a button you hit to just see my things, and that's it. That's all it does. Um, but enjoy your new year to the best that you can. I hope the best for everyone here, wherever you are in your life. I genuinely want the best for you. And hey, if my like ramblings about some dumb shit or my emotions or whatever can help you along the way, awesome. I am that that alone makes this worth it, right? If I can make one person's day better, my god, that means this stuff's important for me to do. So yeah, take care out there, and come by Monday for Link's Awakening, and Tuesday for Together Tuesday. All right, I think I'll go now. Well, is there anyone I want to raid? I guess before I don't see anyone on though. Probably because New Year's and people are either celebrating or gone to bed by this point. So you know what? Yeah, we'll just kind of call it. All right. Thanks everyone. See you guys next time. Bye. Take care. Love you guys. You're great.